Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Myth: My Dragons Can Evolve Infinitely. Chapter 61. Perhaps Mr. Shui Dexing, you have not descended to the human world, so you don't know that Nezha, Li Jing and others who were originally designated on this list of gods were erased out of thin air for unknown reasons. And this matter is very likely to be related to the dragon clan of the Four Seas. Shui Bo spoke slowly. It is said that the Dragon King of the East China Sea got the treasure from nowhere, and all his subordinates became extremely powerful. Prime Minister Turtle alone killed Master Tai. Quote. What? Shui Dexingjun, who was still sitting quietly on the water god chair, heard this. His face suddenly changed slightly, and he suddenly stood up. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? Xingjun, I only learned about this recently, and not only that, the Sihai tribe also obtained Pengu Jingyuan, and for some reason, the shrimp soldiers and crab generals under it have learned the Shushan sword controlling technique of the human race. You sent Uncle Shui of the Yellow River was actually beaten to death by a shrimp soldier from the Four Seas Dragon clan. Uncle Shui took a deep breath and said. When he heard the news, he thought it was impossible and took a long time to confirm it. What? This is impossible. I am very aware of the strength of the Yellow River Shuibo. Lord Shui Dexing frowned. I didn't expect that the Donghai tribe would develop so rapidly. I thought back then, the Heavenly Court ordered me to keep an eye on the dragon tribe of the Four Seas. I didn't expect that after such a long time, they would make trouble again. It seems that it is time to send people have suppressed them, avenge Tai Zhenren and Yuanshi Tianzun. Come here, send some soldiers and horses to me quickly. I, Xingjun, want to show the Four Seas Dragon clan the majesty of heaven. As soon as he finished speaking, Uncle Shui quickly turned around and prepared to go. Looking at Shui Bo's leaving figure, Shui Dexingjun's lips curled up slightly. In fact, the annihilation of the Four Seas Dragon clan has nothing to do with him. The reason why he gave the order was entirely because he saw clearly the situation in the gods list. He is not a fool. He has just seen it from the list of the conferred gods list. This time the conferred gods list is to purge the forces of the Tongtian cult leader and the Heavenly Emperor. In the future, the Heavenly Court will inevitably be dominated by Taisheng Laojun and Yuanshi Tianzun, and the Sihai Dragon clan killed Tai Zhenren, a disciple of Yuanshi Tianzun, and he was worried that he would not be able to take action against the Sihai Dragon clan. If he took this opportunity at this time, he would offer the head of the East China Sea Dragon clan Dragon King Bao Qing. Then, he can take this opportunity to become a member of Yuanshi Tianzun, and Dragon King Aoking is his vote to enter the team of Yuanshi Tianzun. He even thought about the adjectives for the petition. When he thought of taking refuge under the banner of Yuanshi Tianzun, he might replace Master Tai and become one of the 12 golden immortals. He beamed with joy. He didn't want to miss such a precious speculation opportunity. However, his smile quickly froze and was replaced by a tight frown. The reason is very simple, because at this moment, the entire Xingjun mansion was faintly shaking, and the powerful dragon power spread faintly, suppressing everything in the entire Xingjun mansion. That huge dragon power, even Shui Dexing, who was born as a water god, Jun, you are also terrified. This breath, could it be that the Dragon King of the East China Sea is the one who makes Qing Qing? No, it's impossible. He can't have such terrifying dragon power. And just when Shui Dexingjun was shocked, a faint voice slowly echoed, Shui Dexingjun, my Dragon King has arrived, why don't you quickly bow down and worship? As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying aura of the holy beast suddenly spread fiercely, carrying an overwhelming force that was difficult to stop. Lord Shui Dexing was just about to speak when he felt that the aura of the holy beast was extremely powerful, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him, and even his breathing became extremely difficult. Click, click, click. Along with the sound of shattering, the aura of the holy beast suddenly increased in intensity. The Xingjun mansion, which was originally faintly shaking, shattered in an instant, turning into green bricks and tiles flying in the sky, splashing everywhere. This aura of the holy beast, could it be the arrival of Xuanwu? No, how can the little dragon king of the East China Sea control the holy beast? Lord Shui Dexing's face was filled with shock. He reluctantly held the sharp sword in his hand and used the method to resist the surging aura of the holy beast. His face was full of pain and confusion. And in his horrified gaze, dark clouds suddenly thickened, directly covering the sky of the entire Xingjun mansion. With a loud rumbling sound, Bao Qing and others slowly revealed their true colors. Dragon King of the East China Sea, Yao Qing. Shui Dexingjun's eyes widened in surprise. Only then did he notice that the strong dragon power came from Yao Qing's body, and he was extremely shocked at the moment. Young Lord Shui Dexing, dare to call the Dragon King by his name. Before Bao Qing could speak, Prime Minister Gui next to him once again released a strong aura of the holy beast, which directly suppressed Lord Shui Dexing and made him unable to breathe. Angry. Ever since Bao Qing granted evolution points and allowed Prime Minister Turtle to evolve into a junior Xuanwu, Prime Minister Turtle's strength and realm have advanced by leaps and bounds. In just a few weeks, he has broken through several realms. Now, he is already at the peak of the Golden Immortal. Although Lord Shui Dexing is in the realm of Daluo Jingxian, with the aura of the Holy Beast, Lord Shui Dexing is naturally no match for Prime Minister Turtle. Kui, Prime Minister Turtle. Only then did Lord Shui Dexing notice that the aura of the Holy Beast that had just suppressed him actually came from Prime Minister Turtle. Although I don't know how the Sea High Dragon Palace did it, I'm afraid no one knows what it means more than Lord Shui Dexing. And looking at the posture of the Sea High Dragon clan today, they are trying to resist him. That's right, it's Xiao Gui. Today we are here to demolish your Xingjun's mansion and destroy your Shui de Xingjun. Prime Minister Gui spoke slowly, very domineeringly. When she heard herself being called Little Turtle, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. He was never one to sit back and wait for death. After killing the Yellow River Shui Bo, he knew that after Shui de Xingjun learned the news, he would definitely take action against the entire East China Sea Dragon clan. Instead of waiting for others to take action, it was better to go to Xingjun Mansion first, so this scene happened in front of him. Destroy my Xingjun Mansion. Shui Dexingjun frowned. As the head of the Tianting Water Conservancy Department, when he ruled his subordinates, especially the Sea High Dragon clan, he would inevitably use some cold methods. Over the years, not only thousands but also hundreds of dragon kings from various places died at his hands. Now the Sea High Dragon clan is coming. Must have come to trouble him, but what he didn't expect was that the Dragon clan, which once declined to the point where the Dragon King was only a 5-clawed golden dragon, would become so strong in a few weeks. His Xingjun mansion is not so easy to break into. Many masters along the way will probably die in the hands of these people. Yes, that's right. Prime Minister Turtle was too lazy to talk nonsense and transformed directly. Once upon a time, when Lord Shui Dexing came to patrol the East China Sea, they were extremely trembling for fear of making mistakes. Now, they actually have the strength to compete with Lord Shui Dexing. You can imagine his inner excitement. After this transformation, a huge basalt shadow of more than 100 feet suddenly appeared behind Prime Minister Turtle. And this shadow quickly solidified and transformed in just a few breaths. As an entity, just a moment later, a huge Xuanwu with a body of more than 100 feet appeared in the sky above the entire Xingjun mansion, covering the sky and the sun. The huge Xuanwu claws were as big as a building, extremely has visual impact. It can be clearly seen that the turtle shell transformed into Xuanwu is thicker than before, showing a metallic luster. So strong. Lord Shui Dexing's face changed slightly. The aura of the holy beast made him gasp a little, but after all, he was also a master of mythology who had been in the fairy court for many years. The sword in his hand flicked lightly, and a faint feeling the cold light flashed and actually opened a hole in the aura of the holy beast that came to suppress it, and he himself used this hole to try to escape. He is not a fool. How could he not see that if the Dragon clan attacks today, he will definitely escape death? Just thinking about it, you will know that a subordinate, Prime Minister Turtle, is so powerful, let alone the Dragon Emperor. Unfortunately, just as he was about to run out of Prime Minister Gui's mouth, a dragon claw that was even bigger than the Tianju appeared without warning and directly grabbed him in the dragon claw. Along the dragon claw, you can also clearly see the huge dragon body of Dragon King Yaoking that covers the sky and the sun. Every scale is so shining, giving people a breathtaking power. Shui Dexingjun wanted to struggle, but found that he could not move at all under the terrifying power of the dragon's claws. At this moment, he felt like an ant in front of Dragon Emperor Yao Qing, who could be kneaded by other giants at will. Dragon Emperor Yao Qing, let me tell you that once you kill Lord Shui Dexing, it will be equivalent to killing the leader of your water tribe. It is a crime of treason. Heaven will soon attack you. You'd better think clearly. Wow. Before Shui Dexingjun could finish speaking, Dragon Emperor Yaoqing exerted a slight force, and only heard a pop. Amidst the blood splashing and blood mist, Shui Dexingjun was like a bed bug being crushed to death. The whole body exploded with blood, and I couldn't die anymore. The next moment, Lord Shui Dexing's soul flew away from his body and wanted to escape far away. Want to run? The 8-clawed mutated purple gold dragon that had turned into a green creature opened its mouth and spat out a burst of terrifying 3-flavored real fire, which directly burned Lord Shui Dexing to the point where he could no longer die. The souls of high-level gods like Shui Dexingjun are very powerful. They cannot be killed by just killing their physical bodies. If their souls are allowed to escape, there will be endless hidden dangers. After killing Lord Shui Dexing, Bao Qing curled his lips slightly, and immediately opened the quasi-chaos treasure-level Shan Sheji fate map to directly seize Lord Shui Dexing's luck. Congratulations! You successfully captured Lord Shui Dexing's luck. You have obtained the position of Water God, the Water God, and become the new Water God. Under the influence of the Water God, the cultivation speed of all your subordinates will be increased by 50%. Under the influence of the Water God, the comprehension speed of all water tribes within the range will be increased by 100%. A series of pleasant reminders came, and now Qing was stunned at first, and then happy. He originally thought that Lord Shui Dexing, as the god of water, could be regarded as a little child of luck. Otherwise, he would not replace Gonggong, the god of water, and become the god of water, so he used the mountains and rivers that could steal other people's luck. Sheji luck map. But he did not expect that once this luck was taken away, Shui Dexingjun's position as the water god and the water god was also taken away. Just looking at the heaven-defying attributes of the water god and the water god, we can see how these two attributes are heaven-defying. His subordinates and all the water tribes have greatly improved. This alone is enough to raise his seashore to another level. Dragon King, so strong. Dragon King, too strong. The Dragon Kings from various sea areas who came with him were all shocked and speechless, especially the courage to kill Shui Dexingjun, which they asked themselves did not have. Ignoring the shock of the Dragon Kings, Ao Qing's gaze fell on the distance. When I come to Lord Shui Dexing, I am afraid that I have alerted the surrounding guards. How about we fight bravely with this Dragon King to kill the enemy? After hearing this, Prime Minister Turtle and others who had already been gearing up were even more eager to give it a try. At this moment, the Dragon Kings also took out their weapons and prepared to fight. The Dragon King will definitely guide them in the future. These Dragon Kings from all sea areas have made up their minds to fight with the Dragon King to the end. And just when Ao Qing was thinking about it, dark heavenly soldiers and generals appeared in the sky. The water pools and water generals in various sea areas were all soldiers and horses protecting Lord Shui Dexing. They moved very fast, and wherever they passed, the strong murderous aura faintly shook the sky. Seeing these heavenly soldiers and generals, the corner of Bao Qing's mouth curled up slightly, thinking that as the Water Conservancy Department of Heaven, the Water Conservancy Department really has a lot of manpower, but it is a pity that they will all die here today. Prime Minister Turtle, Shrimp Soldiers, and Dragon Kings, I'll give you a quarter of an hour to resolve the battle. Bao Qing shrugged his shoulders. There was a precious opportunity to train his men, but if he took action, the battle would be resolved in an instant. Yes, Dragon King, Prime Minister Turtle, Shrimp Soldier and others nodded heavily and were about to take action when a Yangtze River bodhisattva in the distance smiled coldly. The little Dragon King of the East China Sea, how dare you speak so brazenly? I think the so-called Dragon King is still young, so you'd better take action. Lest all my subordinates. Before Uncle Shui could finish his words, a sharp flying sword pierced his throat and shot him down from the sky. You immortals, are you too talkative? Are you worthy of letting the Dragon King take action? With a clang, a flying sword returned and landed on the back of a shrimp soldier. The shrimp soldier said with a smile. I have to say that except for the shrimp-faced body, this shrimp soldier's costume is exactly the same as that of those martial arts masters who travel the world with swords. He has a sense of familiarity with the lobster hero. This sudden scene directly shocked the entire Shuibo army and the heavenly soldiers and generals. Even now, everyone still feels that the scene before them is a bit dreamy. A shrimp soldier, controlling a sword, killed the majestic Yangtze River Shuibo directly from 1,000 meters away. How is this possible? For a moment, none of those Shuibo even dared to expect Dragon King Baoqing to take action. However, they still rushed over in a fierce force as always, hoping to annihilate all the dragon clans from all over the world here. Pull the sword out of its scabbard. Shushan swordsmanship. Facing Wu Yongyang's enemies, these shrimp soldiers who had been given high hopes by Baoqing did not panic at all. They all used their energy to control their swords and controlled the swords behind them. Countless sharp swords flew out at once. Under the control of the shrimp soldiers, they faced the enemy forcefully. These Shuibo, heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals have never seen such a spell before. In their minds, shouldn't all shrimp soldiers be able to cast water spells? After just one encounter, many Shuibo fell from the sky, and many heavenly soldiers also fell to the ground. The shrimp soldiers were not idlers. Seeing that they had gained an advantage, they immediately used their flying swords and charged directly into the armies of Uncle Shui and the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals. Unexpectedly, none of them were injured, and they killed many more one after another. Heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals. It's hard to imagine that just a few weeks ago, these shrimp soldiers had mediocre talents and had the lowest combat power among the aquatic tribe. How is it possible? What happened to the Four Seas tribe? Even the shrimp soldiers became so powerful. That's right, do they have any deep background behind them? A little shrimp soldier is so powerful. The heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals became more and more frightened as they fought, and the Shuibos were also extremely shocked. They had no idea what was happening. What was happening in front of them was so dreamy. You know, now the Sea Dragon clan has only dispatched shrimp soldiers. Even the Prime Minister Turtle has not done anything. Once he does, it will be a big deal. This battle is so unwinnable. Among the Shuibo, a god named Taohei Shuibo saw the shrimp soldiers killing more and more fiercely without any fear, like a sharp sword thrust into his throat. At that moment, his mood collapsed and he wanted to escape, while other Shuibo, the uncles and the heavenly soldiers and generals, were in the same mood. I don't know who shouted in the chaos of the people, "Run!" The dark Uncle Shui and the heavenly soldiers and generals all turned around and prepared to flee. The shrimp soldiers, Prime Minister Turtle and others were about to give chase, when the tall and over 1,000-foot tall Nao Qing laughed. Want to run? Wanlong Chaozong. As soon as he finished speaking, Nao Qing gently pushed out his palm, and the next moment, countless huge shadows of 8-clawed purple gold dragons appeared up and down in the sky, covering the sky and the sun. These huge shadows intertwined, launching sharp dragon claws together. The next moment, countless dragon claws that were like pillars of heaven suddenly landed, like a violent storm. It was difficult for any Shuibo, heavenly soldiers or generals to survive. In an instant, they were shot into debris flying all over the sky by the falling dragon claws, minced meat. When the dragon's claws dissipated and Nao Qing returned to his human form, there was no trace of Shuibo, shrimp soldiers and crab generals in the sky or on the ground. They were all brutally killed by Nao Qing. If Uncle Shui is still alive at this moment, he will definitely understand what Sha Bing said, "You are not worthy to fight against the Dragon King." Because once the Dragon King takes action, he will absolutely destroy everything and resolve the battle instantly. After finishing dealing with the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals, and unleashing a wave of luck for the Dragon Clan, and then using the mountains and rivers Sheji map to include the Shide Star Lord's mansion in the scroll, Ao Qing left the Star Lord's mansion with the Dragon Kings, shrimp soldiers and crab generals. I believe that the things here will be known to Heavenly Court soon, and Heavenly Court will definitely kill the killer and come to destroy Seehaiban. Before that, he needs to prepare as soon as possible to enhance the strength of Seehaiban. However, what has to be said is that this time he came to Shide Xingjun Mansion, and he definitely gained a lot from being a green man. Not only did he get the position of Water God, but he also gained the deity of Water God. It is better to underestimate the position of the Water God and the Water God. These are treasures that can greatly increase the speed of the Water Tribe's practice and comprehension. With the support of this kind of treasure, there will be more and more shrimp soldiers and crab generals who can perform Shushan sword controlling skills, and the overall combat power of the Four Seas coast will become stronger and stronger. Shi Xingjun's mansion was on a remote island, not far from the East China Sea. A few quarters of an hour later, Aoqing returned to the East China Sea with his soldiers and crab generals. After returning to the East China Sea, the shrimp soldiers, crab generals and others hurriedly went to Shuishu Mountain to practice Shushan swordsmanship. The dragon kings in other waters also said goodbye one by one, preparing to return to inform them of the news about the shores of the four seas. Other dragon kings, let other dragon kings come and seek refuge. After briefly giving some instructions to Prime Minister Gui, now Qing himself returned to the East China Sea Dragon Palace, on the dragon bed. In the past few days, he has been focusing on improving the luck of the Dragon Clan and improving the reputation of the Dragon Clan. Many of the evolution points he has accumulated have not been used yet, and now is the time to use them. He slowly opened the attributes of the Four Seas Coast. Name: Bo Qing. Identity: Water God. Dominate: Shores of the Four Seas. Troop Strength: 5-clawed Golden Dragon 5, 4-clawed Golden Dragon 12, 3-clawed Golden Dragon 20, Shrimp Soldier 150000, Crab General 15,000, Fish Spirit 80000, Fish Monster 1,200,000. Reputation: 121 points. Kung Fu: Dragon God Ju. Realm: Deluo Golden Immortal Peak Realm. Magic Weapons: Fire-Pointed Spear, Demon-Slaying Sword, Wind and Fire Wheel, Mountain and River Sheji Luck Map, 9-Color Exquisite Tower, Water God. Transformation: 8-Clawed Hunyuan, Descending Thunder, Mutated Purple Gold Dragon. Skills: Thunder in the Sky, Frozen 1,000 Miles, 10,000 Dragons Chaozong, 5th level Thunder Tribulation, 6th level Thunder Tribulation. Evolution points: 5 points can be allocated to yourself, 8 points can be allocated to subordinates. Dominance rating: C level, slightly worse. As the saying goes, it doesn't matter if you don't look at it, but you will be shocked when you look at it. It didn't matter that Bao Qing didn't open the attribute panel, but when he opened it, he was shocked. Not to mention the identity of the water god he had just obtained, the current strength of the Four Seas Coast alone was enough to stun people. The reserves of fish spirit fish monsters alone have reached 800,000 and 1.2 million. These are fish spirit fish monsters that have transformed and have some combat capabilities. Although the data cannot directly reflect the value of these fish spirits and fish monsters, this number is enough to shock everything. The luck reputation of the Dragon Clan has also increased by about 120 points, and the unallocated evolution points are as many as 5 and 8 points. It is extremely exciting to survive. He originally thought that the unallocated points were very few and planned to save them for use together, but he did not expect that he had accumulated so many unknowingly. But he also noticed that as time went by, it became easier and easier to earn evolution points. He set his sights on the 5 evolution points. Just as he was trying to figure out whether he could become a 9-clawed golden dragon, a pleasant system prompt sounded slowly. You have 5 evolution points to allocate, but if you want to evolve into a 9-clawed mutated purple gold dragon, you need 8 evolution points. Please keep working hard. Hearing this, Bao Qing shrugged his shoulders and said that he wanted to evolve into a 9-clawed golden dragon. As expected, the demand was high. He actually needed 8 evolution points. Unfortunately, he still needed 3 points to evolve into a 9-clawed mutated purple gold dragon. However, just when he was thinking like this, suddenly, a pleasant reminder sounded slowly. Because the host killed Lord Shui Dexing and obtained the status of Water God, the host is hereby rewarded with 3 evolution points, but allocate yourself. Congratulations, you now have 8 evolution points which can be allocated to yourself. Do you want to evolve into a 9-claw mutated purple gold dragon? When he heard the system prompt, Bao Qing was stunned. He didn't expect the surprise to come like this, so he immediately chose yes. The next moment, a pleasant voice came. Congratulations, you have used 8 evolution points which can be allocated to yourself. With the help of the system, you will evolve into a 9-clawed Hunyuan Tribulation mutated purple gold dragon. Under the 9-clawed Hunyuan Tribulation mutated purple gold dragon, your dragon clan's commanding power increases by 200%, and any dragon clan will surrender to you. And within the range of the 9-clawed Hunyuan Tribulation mutated purple gold dragon, the water clan's cultivation speed increases 200%, the aquatic comprehension speed is increased by 200%. In this state, you can learn all the techniques and moves in an instant, and perform them to perfection. As the sweet sound came, Nao Qing felt a powerful force instantly injected into his body, as if it was helping him to open up the Ren and Du's two meridians. His body was filled with a burning sensation, as if it was about to erupt. And he clearly felt that his body was undergoing earth-shaking changes again. Every inch of skin and every piece of flesh on his body seemed to have been washed and possessed. Powerful magic. And at the same time that Nao Qing evolved into a 9-clawed Hunyuan Yuji mutated purple gold dragon, sitting cross-legged on the dragon bed, a huge shadow of the ancestral dragon also appeared behind him. The shadow was more than 1,000 feet long. It even covered the entire East China Sea. Along with the practice of Zhou Qing, it shone with a faint light, and became more and more solid, turning into an entity. From a distance, it was extremely shocking and full of visual impact. In the four seas, the tortoise prime ministers, shrimp soldiers and crab generals looked at the increasingly solid giant shadow, and their faces were full of shock. Dragon Emperor, is he going to evolve again? If the Dragon King evolves again, won't he evolve into a 9-clawed golden dragon? 9-clawed golden dragon. Even in the prehistoric times, it was an extremely rare existence, right? The Dragon Clan is destined to blossom into unprecedented glory under the governance of Dragon Emperor Yao Qing. Yes, the Dragon King is so powerful. The shrimp soldiers and crab generals were talking a lot, and they were very excited. They all worked harder at the same time, wanting to repay the Dragon King for his kindness and add their own contribution to the rise of the Dragon Clan. Ao Guang, the former Dragon King of the East China Sea, has red eyes again. 9-clawed golden dragon. Is the legendary existence about to be born in Boqing? And just when the Dragon King Ao Qing was evolving into the 9-clawed golden dragon, the 33rd heaven. In the huge hall of the Immortal Palace, the Emperor of Heaven sat quietly on a dragon chair, his eyes unchanged as they had been forever. In front of the Emperor of Heaven, a divine general knelt quietly, his face full of respect. Emperor Heaven, according to the information we have learned, the three saints have jointly discussed the list of gods, and the number of heavenly forces on the list is only Princess Longji. Among the many candidates provided by our heaven, the three saints have not considered it. A heavenly general said while carefully handing the copied list of gods to the Emperor in Heaven. The Emperor of Heaven turned over the list of gods, and a complex color that was difficult to detect flashed in the corner of his eyes. Since the birth of the prehistoric world, this heaven has always symbolized the master of the 6 realms and the ruling department of the entire world. The Lord of the Heaven, whether it is the Eastern Emperor Tai in the prehistoric period, the Emperor Jun, or the new emperor who has not been on the throne for a long time, both represent the masters of the 3 realms and are in charge of all mortal matters. Theoretically, the Emperor of Heaven, that is, his status is extremely high, and even the 3 great saints must bow to him when they see him. But in fact, under the calculations of the 3 great saints, even if he is like him, the Master of Heaven is like a puppet, allowed to be manipulated and slaughtered by others. This time, the 3 saints discussed the list of gods. On the surface, they were adding people to his heavenly court. In fact, they were reshuffling the forces in his heavenly court and inserting all the forces of the 3 saints. In order to fight against the 3 saints' canonization of gods, the Emperor of Heaven specially asked the Queen Mother of the West, who was also in charge of the heavenly court, to quietly insert his daughter Princess Longji and others into the list of canonization of gods, so as to take this opportunity. Cultivating his own direct troops in heaven, but what the Emperor did not expect was that many of the candidates they recommended were not included, leaving only Princess Longji. Obviously, this time, the 3 great saints want to completely ignore the Emperor of Heaven and turn him into a puppet. Although Princess Longji is also on the list of gods, the one who canonized the god is Yuanshi Tianzun's disciple Zhang Zia. He will definitely not give Princess Longji a good position. Moreover, he will inevitably humiliate Princess Longji on the way. If you want not to become the puppet of their 3 great saints, you have to think of other ways. Just when the Emperor of Heaven was frowning and thinking, a gust of fragrant wind suddenly hit him. A beautiful woman with extremely delicate facial features and full of nobility walked slowly towards her. She was none other than the Queen Mother known as the Holy Mother of Yaoqi. Hearing the Queen Mother's words, the Heavenly Emperor frowned immediately. This Queen Mother is just like him. Now she is just a puppet supported by the 3 saints. It is worth mentioning that the Emperor of Heaven and the Queen Mother are not husband and wife, but the Queen Mother was once a virgin who sat down with heavenly Dao Hongjun. She has a high status and has never married or even loved anyone. Of course, despite the high status of the Queen Mother, Tiandao Hongjun would not fall out with the three saints just because of a little virgin. These days, Heavenly Emperor, I have been thinking a lot, but I have never found any good solution. Why, Yaoqi, have you thought of it? Heavenly Emperor frowned slightly and shook his head. When he thought that he was a puppet, he gritted his teeth, but under the powerful force, he had to endure it. Do you know that recently Nezha, Li Jing and others from the list of gods were wiped out and their fates were changed against the will of heaven? Our Lady of Yaoqi suddenly asked. When the Heavenly Emperor heard this, his eyes suddenly flashed, but then his eyes dimmed. This Heavenly Emperor has investigated this matter, and it seems to be related to the leader of the Sihai Dragon clan, Bao Cheng. Moreover, the Western sect has contacts with the Sihai Dragon clan. It's quite close. Obviously, there must be a very deep background and backing behind the Four Seas Dragon clan. I just don't know who this background and backing is. Could it be that, Queen Mother, you want to use the power of the Four Seas Dragon clan? Our Lady of Yaoqi shook her head slightly, and just as she was about to say something, a divine general suddenly ran over in a panic. Emperor of Heaven, Queen Mother, it's not good. The mansion of Lord Shui Dexing, one of the 5 planet lords, was captured by the dragon clan of the Four Seas. Their commander, Bao Cheng, was destroyed, and even the water god's throne and water god were taken away. As soon as he finished speaking, the Heavenly Emperor of Heaven and the Holy Mother of Yaoqi both stood up suddenly, their eyes full of surprise. What? The Dragon Clan of the Four Seas actually has the ability to destroy Lord Shui Dexing's mansion. Shui Dexingjun, one of the 5 planetary kings, is a water conservancy department, but this department also controls thousands of heavenly soldiers and generals, and thousands of Shuishuiabo. It is a powerful army that cannot be underestimated. And such a powerful army was actually destroyed by the Sihai Dragon clan. How is this possible? Moreover, speaking of it, this 5-planet lord is also one of the few heavenly armies that the Heavenly Emperor can command. Once this is destroyed, it means that the foundation of his Heavenly Emperor in heaven will be greatly reduced. Yes, Heavenly Emperor, when I received the news, I was also very surprised. But what surprised me the most is that according to some heavenly soldiers, the little shrimp soldiers of the Four Seas Dragon clan all have sword flying skills. A mortal, with the ability to control flying swords, one shrimp soldier even killed dozens of heavenly soldiers and water uncles with his own strength. The general who reported the news couldn't help but take a deep breath when he said this. What? How can this be? The Heavenly Emperor and the Queen Mother were extremely shocked when they heard this. Now the heaven is in great danger. The 3 great saints are watching eagerly, and the Dragon Clan is wreaking havoc in the world. The frowning brows of the Heavenly Emperor couldn't help but frown even more tightly. What should we do? The Queen Mother on the side also frowned tightly, thinking about countermeasures. If the Four Seas Dragon Clan is allowed to continue to develop, it will inevitably breed tigers. But now the great catastrophe of the gods is approaching, and the 3 saints are watching with eager eyes, eager to find every opportunity. If this matter is not handled well, it is very likely to bring disaster to the 2 of them. An unprecedented disaster. And just as the 2 of them were thinking about it, suddenly, an extremely strong demonic aura shot straight into the sky, shaking the entire heaven. Neither the Heavenly Emperor nor the Queen Mother could even stand firm, and stumbled to the ground. With their feet in the air, they looked as embarrassed as they could be. The divine general who reported the news frowned tightly and stared at the direction where the strong demonic energy was born. It's the huge demonic energy coming from the shores of the Four Seas. This demonic energy can actually shake the heavens. I'm afraid a peerless demon will be born. Peerless great demon. The Heavenly Emperor and the Queen Mother, who barely got up, looked at each other in horror. I remember that when the peerless demon Emperor Jun and Dongwang Tai were born, they triggered the secrets of heaven, and the demonic aura soared to the sky, shaking the heaven. No, the mythical world is shaken. Whenever a peerless monster is born, it will shock the entire mythical world. I wonder what kind of monster will be born on the shores of the Four Seas this time. The Queen Mother looked from the top of the heaven, her eyes full of solemnity, there is no doubt that this peerless monster is definitely the Dragon King of the East China Sea named Bo Qing. No matter what kind of monster is born, what we in heaven have to do now is to win over them as much as possible. When the Heavenly Emperor said this, he frowned. Originally, when he heard the news that Lord Shui Dexing was destroyed, the inner thought of the Heavenly Emperor was to send out heavenly soldiers and generals to destroy the Dragon Clan of the Four Seas, so as not to leave any hidden dangers. But after hearing this, he changed his mind after seeing that the little shrimp soldier of the East China Sea Dragon Clan had the strength to kill Shui Bo and the heavenly soldiers and generals. The reason is very simple. The East China Sea Dragon Clan who grew up in such a terrifying way must have a very profound background, and I am afraid they are also beings that they cannot afford to offend. So facing such a force, wooing and giving benefits is obviously the best choice. But the Emperor of Heaven. The general who reported the news frowned slightly. Just when he was about to say something, the Emperor of Heaven on the side waved his hand. You go down first. Yes. The general who reported the news took a deep breath, and then disappeared without a trace. After there was no one in the entire palace, the Heavenly Emperor set his sights on the Queen Mother, hesitated for a moment, and said, maybe we can take control of heaven again this time and not be puppets. We can rely on the power of the Dragon Clan of the Four Seas. Relying on the power of the Four Seas Dragon Clan. The Queen Mother frowned and thought. How rapidly has the Four Seas Dragon Clan developed under the governance of Dragon Emperor Yao Qing? I'm afraid no one knows it better than you and I, and the peerless demon Aura just now, if this emperor guessed correctly, is probably the re-evolution of Dragon Emperor Yao Qing, evolved into the pinnacle existence of the nine-clawed golden dragon. The Heavenly Emperor said this and took a deep breath. You know, a few weeks ago, Yao Qing was just a small five-clawed golden dragon. When the Queen Mother heard this, she also took a deep breath. In just a few weeks, it evolved from a five-clawed golden dragon to a nine-clawed golden dragon. No one knows what it means better than those of them who have experienced the ancient ancestral dragon period. However, if the Four Seas Dragon Clan is not used properly, it is very likely that there will be backlash. The Queen Mother was a little worried, and at the same time she was thinking quickly about how to win over the Four Seas Dragon Clan. No matter how much it backfires, it would be much better than you and me becoming the puppets of the three great saints. The Heavenly Emperor sighed when he said this. After all, this Emperor of Heaven is also one of the top masters in the prehistoric world, and he has an extremely keen premonition of the future. The Emperor of Heaven can even sense that after the great tribulation of the gods, the three saints will support the new Lord of the three realms. In fact, the premonition of the Heavenly Emperor was not wrong. Not long after he was on the list of gods, the three saints helped a guy named Haoshan Emperor, who claimed to be the Jade Emperor, to go up. On the surface, the Jade Emperor was so majestic that even the Tathagata could mobilize and come to protect him, but in fact, the Jade Emperor is still the puppet of the three great saints. On the surface, it is Monk Tang who seeks Buddhist scriptures from the West. In fact, it is a conflict between Buddhism and Taoism. The Western religion and the three great saints and the five great saints are secretly plotting and fighting secretly. It's like playing chess. A first-rate player makes the game, a second-rate player makes the board, and a third-rate player makes the pieces. The five great saints are top-notch chess players who play chess games, while the Emperor of Heaven, the Queen Mother and others are poor chess pieces that can be replaced at any time. Perhaps, this is the fate of the chess pieces. The Queen Mother sighed. Suddenly, something came to her mind, and her eyes lit up. Perhaps, with the power of the Dragon Clan of the Four Seas, you and I can survive on this chessboard. Don't forget now, we still have the last trump card, and that is Pantaoyuan. Yes, I would have forgotten if you didn't tell me. When the Queen Mother mentioned the flat peach, the eyes of the Heavenly Emperor also lit up and he gained some confidence. In this ancient world, there are a total of 10 innate spiritual roots, which can give people extremely terrifying strength in a short period of time, ascend to immortality, and be omnipotent. Among the 10 innate roots, the ginseng fruit tree of Junyuan Immortal, the flat peach tree of Queen Mother, and the gourd vine of Nuwa Queen are the most terrifying. Just one ginseng fruit born from the ginseng fruit tree can make people solid. The essence of this essence can increase the lifespan by thousands of years. The gourd vine of Nuwa is the magic weapon for him to create humans from the soil, as for the flat peaches from the Queen Mother's peach tree, it can even help people ascend to immortality and live as long as heaven and earth. I believe that with such innate spiritual roots, the dragon clan of the Four Seas will choose to cooperate with them. Please leave this matter to me. This time, the Queen Mother decided to take action personally. After all, only in this way can she show some sincerity. But before that, I want to see what the Four Seas Dragon clan has done. The real details. At the same time, Kunlun Mountain. In Yushu Palace. What? A small shrimp soldier from the Dragon clan actually has the strength to kill Uncle Shui, heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals. Is the current Sihai Dragon clan so powerful? Yuanshi Tianzun, who was meditating with his eyes closed, suddenly stood up after hearing this, his face full of shock and disbelief. When the golden immortal disciples in front of Yuanshi Tianzun heard this, they were also horrified and full of doubts. It's only been a few weeks. That's right, it's only been a few weeks. A few weeks ago, a little Prime Minister Turtle was able to kill Zhenren Tai, and now a little shrimp soldier can kill Uncle Shui, heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals. If they are given a little more time by the Four Seas Dragon clan, then what will happen? Remarkable. When one of the Golden Immortal disciples said this, the expressions of several other Golden Immortal disciples changed greatly and turned as pale as paper. Even Yuanshi Tianzun, one of the saints, also changed his expression greatly. How long has it taken for the Four Seas Dragon clan to become so powerful? A little shrimp soldier has it. And just when everyone was extremely surprised, suddenly, a strong demonic energy shot straight into the sky, and even Yushu Palace, one of the three holy palaces, was faintly shaken. The disciples in the palace were even more unsteady and fell to the ground. Some even had a dog eating shit. After a while, the apprentices stood up slowly, patted their buttocks, and stared at the shores of the Four Seas below with horrified eyes. The demonic aura is soaring to the sky. This is the birth of a peerless demon. Which race is it that gave birth to such a terrifying and peerless monster? The birth of the peerless monster not only shocked the heavenly court, Yushu Palace and other places, but also many caves and blessed places in the mythical world. Countless top masters from various races in the mythical world are subconsciously looking at the shores of the Four Seas at this moment, and they are all speculating about where the sacred person was born and turned into a peerless monster. You must know that once the peerless demon appears, it is destined that this peerless demon will affect the current established pattern, that is, the existence of the Son of Fate. It's impossible not to prevent and be wary of such an existence. You must know that Sun Wukong, the great sage who influenced the struggle between Buddhism and Taoism in later generations, was fighting in the sky when he was born, and the evil spirit was soaring to the sky. Of course, there are also some well-informed people who have learned that this time the peerless demon may be related to the Dragon King's survival. Not enough, and some people are secretly speculating that maybe some kind of alien species has been born from the Four Seas Dragon clan. In short, the shores of the Four Seas have suddenly become the focus of countless top mythological experts. At this moment, Bo Qing, who knew nothing about the shocks from the outside world, or to be precise, was too lazy to pay attention to it, was at the critical moment when the 8-clawed golden dragon evolved into the 9-clawed Hunyuan tribulation mutated purple gold dragon, the most important time. At this moment, he saw waves of powerful and intense demonic energy rising into the sky, and the shadow of a huge dragon appeared behind him, sometimes vaguely, sometimes solidifying into reality. It looked very terrifying, giving people a sense of horror. A special visual shock. As for him, he closed his eyes tightly and allowed the powerful aura to rush into his limbs and bones, opening up many acupuncture points around him, just like opening up the Ren and Du meridians. In his mind, a huge dragon body with a body of more than 3,000 to 4,000 feet was hovering over the coast of the East China Sea, occupying the entire coast of the East China Sea. The strong power of the dragon spread from his body, it surged around, forming terrifying shock waves, setting off huge waves of more than 100 feet. This scene was really shocking, especially when the huge dragon body shook, plunging the entire East China Sea coast into darkness. When the 6-clawed golden dragon was originally boiled, its huge body of more than a few hundred feet was enough to frighten people. After it evolved into the 9-clawed golden dragon, its size increased tenfold again. It can be imagined that it was what a shock. Suddenly, Now Qing slowly opened his eyes, and the powerful force that was constantly pouring into his limbs and bones suddenly stopped, and the powerful aura of the peerless demon emanating from his body also dissipated in an instant, as if everything was gone. Did not happen. Is this the power and feeling of the 9-clawed Hunyuan tribulation mutated purple gold dragon? Bao Qing tried waving his arms, and felt that his arms could push out huge waves in an instant. The power was extremely terrifying, and his body contained all the power of the 9-clawed Hunyuan tribulation mutated purple gold dragon. As long as he with just a thought, he can easily bring down 6th and 7th levels of thunder calamity, which is extremely terrifying. This feeling was so wonderful that I didn't even want to get away from it for a long time. After a long time, Yao Qing returned to normal. But the next moment, a pleasant reminder sounded in his ears. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. By 1 point. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. By 1 point. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. By 1 point. Listening to the sweet prompts coming from his ears, now Qing knew that this time he evolved into a 9-clawed Hunyuan tribulation mutated purple gold dragon, which would probably shock the entire mythical world. He could feel that the strong demonic energy he exuded was already on par with those of the peerless demons. However, he also knew very well that this almost meant that his strength had reached a new realm and level. He had broken through the Daluo Jingxian realm and reached the junior Hunyuan Daluo Jingxian realm, which was the level of the junior quasi-sage. Although the realm has only been improved by 1 level, Bao Qing can clearly feel that after stepping into the quasi-sage level, his views on martial arts, everything have undergone unprecedented changes. It's like an engineer looking at a wheel. What the worker sees is the appearance of the wheel, but what the engineer sees is the power system of the wheel. That is to say, he started to thoroughly see the laws and rules of all things from looking at the appearance, and was able to influence the laws and rules of all things. This feeling is extremely special, as if you can see through the entire world at once, and see through the operating rules of the entire world. If he had barely entered the ranks of the top masters in the mythical world before, then he has now made great strides towards the ranks of the top masters in the mythical world. It is indeed an evolutionary point. The improvement it brings is not only an improvement in strength, but also an improvement in vision. Bao Qing couldn't help but sigh, thinking that after becoming a master in any profession, it would feel like this, right? And just as he was thinking, the Prime Minister Turtle and others in front of him were already kneeling on the ground, their faces full of respect, and their faces were full of excitement. They could clearly feel that their Lord Dragon King had improved again and became much stronger. Dragon Emperor, have you evolved into a 9-clawed golden dragon? Prime Minister Gui asked hurriedly. Bao Qing nodded slightly. There was no need to hide this matter from his subordinates. Sure enough, after hearing this, the elders of the Dragon Clan, Prime Minister Turtle and others were extremely excited. Looking at the excited people, Bao Qing took a deep breath, and then set his sights on the 8 unallocated evolution points for his subordinates, ready to allocate them, but at this moment, Dragon Clan luck the value rose again, and the unallocated evolution points became 9 points. This, Bao Qing thought. In front of his eyes, the system prompt appeared again. Do you want to allocate evolution points to Prime Minister Turtle again? With only 3 points, Prime Minister Turtle can evolve into a dragon-shaped Xuanwu, with the blood of the Dragon Clan. His cultivation speed will be increased by 200%, his defense power will be increased by 200%, and his realm will be directly upgraded to the peak of Golden Immortal. Automatically learn Xuanwu Ju, and you can use powerful magic skills, Yunhen Yuncho, 5 Qi Lianji and other powerful aquatic magic skills. Do you want to allocate evolution points to Ao Bing, the 3rd Prince of the Dragon King? After evolution, Ao Bing, the 3rd Prince of the Dragon King, will evolve into a 5-clawed golden dragon. His Taoism will be increased by 2,000 years, and he will have the strength of Tai Xuanxian. He will automatically learn Thunder Ju, and can use powerful magic skills, Thunderbolt, 2 dragons playing with pearls, etc. Quote. Evolution for the first time. Dragon-shaped Xuanwu. Scanning his eyes from each of his subordinates, now Qing finally landed on Prime Minister Turtle, former East China Sea Dragon King Ao Guang and 3rd Prince Ao Bing, and directly allocated all the evolution points to them. These evolutionary points were originally used by him to improve the strength of his men. Sure enough, the next moment, a pleasant voice came. Congratulations, you allocated 3 evolution points to Prime Minister Turtle. Congratulations. With the allocation of 3 evolution points, your Prime Minister Turtle has evolved again and evolved into a higher level dragon-shaped Xuanwu, a holy beast. Prime Minister Turtle's level will be upgraded to the peak of Golden Immortal. Congratulations. You allocated 1 evolution point to the 3rd Prince Ao Bing. Congratulations. With the allocation of 1 evolution point, your 3rd Prince Ao Bing has evolved again and evolved into a 5-clawed Hunyuan Spirit Pearl Golden Dragon. His realm has been upgraded to the primary realm of Golden Immortal. He will automatically learn. Congratulations. You allocated 1 evolution point to the former East China Sea Dragon King Ao Guang. Congratulations. Your predecessor Ao Guang, the Dragon King of the East China Sea, has evolved again with the allocation of 1 evolution point. He has evolved into a 6-clawed Hunyuan Thunder Golden Dragon. His realm has been upgraded to the intermediate realm of Golden Immortal. He will automatically learn. In the pleasant and clear sound of the reminder, Prime Minister Turtle, 3rd Prince Ao Bing and former East China Sea Dragon King Ao Guang in front of him subconsciously closed their eyes, only feeling a powerful force pouring into their bodies. Like opening up their Rendu and Du meridians, it began to open up 108 acupuncture points all over their bodies, and at the same time began to release the terrifying power contained in their bodies. Among the people, Prime Minister Turtle felt the most profoundly. He clearly felt that his body contained the power of dragon blood like never before, and this power of dragon blood quickly merged with the power of his holy beast. Being one also gave his body the genes of a dragon. This feeling is very special, as if it transcends race. Vaguely, Prime Minister Turtle could not help but think of the scenes of the Black Turtle clan following the ancestral dragon to conquer the world during the prehistoric times. This feeling was extremely special, something he had never experienced before. But soon, Prime Minister Turtle realized what had happened. Is this the power of the influx of dragon blood? Prime Minister Turtle felt it for a moment, and suddenly the state of the dragon-shaped Xuanwu, the peak state of their Black Turtle clan, appeared in his mind. This state is rapidly changing him, giving him unprecedented power. At this moment, not only Prime Minister Gui felt this way, but Ao Guang and Ao Bing also felt the influx of power. The sleeping power in their bodies was quickly awakening. 6-clawed Golden Dragon. Ao Guang took a deep breath, feeling the most horrified in his heart. He originally thought that he would never be able to break through and touch a more powerful realm in his life. You must know that before the appearance of the Dragon King Zhou Qing, the peak of the Four Seas Dragon Clan was just a 5-clawed Golden Dragon. But he did not expect that one day, I can step into the threshold of the 6-clawed Golden Dragon. Once upon a time, when he saw Dragon King Ao Qing stepping into the 6-clawed Golden Dragon, he was so envious and excited, never expecting that he would have such a day. As for Ao Bing on the side, his face was also full of excitement. After all, he could clearly feel that he had evolved into a 5-clawed Golden Dragon. And just when the 3 of them evolved and broke through to a new level, the Dragon Emperor had no time to spare. He just guarded the 3 of them quietly. When the strong dragon power emanated from the 3 of them, the Dragon Huang Baoking showed a thick smile. This time, the Sea Dragon clan not only has one strong person, but also several strong ones. How to distribute the remaining 3 evolution points? Ignoring the men who were getting stronger, Ao Qing set his sights elsewhere. He wanted to fully utilize these 3 evolutionary points, and it would be best to quickly improve the overall strength of the Four Seas Dragon clan. While he was thinking, suddenly a pleasant reminder slowly echoed. Congratulations, your Super Hunyuan Seawater can evolve again. Do you want to allocate 3 evolution points? After the Super Hunyuan Seawater is allocated 3 evolution points, it will spread to all sea areas and seashores, and evolve again, evolving into holy water. Under the holy water, the fish spirits, fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crab generals in all sea areas along the 4 seas will their practice speed is increased by 150%, their comprehension speed is increased by 200%, and they are automatically upgraded by 1 evolutionary level. This evolutionary level is only applicable to low-level fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crab generals. The fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crabs will leave the water and will automatically degenerate. Hearing the prompt, Bao Qing was stunned at first, and then overjoyed. He thought that the Super Hunyuan seawater, which cost 3 evolution points, could evolve again and evolve into holy water. Just looking at the heaven-defying properties of this holy water, you will know how terrifying and heaven-defying properties it is. All of them will automatically advance to 1 evolutionary level. It's a pity that a top powerhouse like Zhou Qing can't enjoy such attribute blessings, but even so, it is enough to prove the terrifying power of holy water. Without hesitation, Yao Qing directly chose yes. The next moment, the pleasant prompt sound came again. Congratulations, you allocated 3 evolution points on the Super Hunyuan seawater. After the Super Hunyuan seawater is allocated 3 evolution points, it will spread to all sea areas and seashores, and evolve again, evolving into holy water. Under the holy water, the fish spirits, fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crab generals in all sea areas along the 4 seas will their practice speed increases by 150%. As soon as he finished speaking, Ao Qing saw this shocking scene in front of him. At this moment, a terrifying deep purple light, centered on the East China Sea Dragon Palace, spread fiercely to all directions. The originally purple shores of the 4 seas faintly revealed a thick black aura, which seemed to cover the entire. It was like a piece of sky, and all the shrimp soldiers, crab generals, fish spirits and fish monsters who came into contact with the deep purple light could clearly feel that a powerful force was injected into their bodies. A shocking scene appeared. At first, only a few scattered shrimp soldiers began to evolve and evolved into lobster soldiers. Not only were their bodies larger and had strong muscles, but golden dragon scales faintly grew on the shrimp heads. Looking from a distance, it was very shocking and gave people a strong visual impact, but soon, more and more people turned into lobster soldiers. Following closely behind were the crab generals. Dense golden dragon scales appeared on each hard shell. The huge pliers on both hands turned into harder dragon claws, and they evolved into dragon crab god generals one by one. As for the fish spirits and fish monsters, they also have their own opportunities and evolve one after another. The super evolution of the first dragon clan. At this moment, not only the fish spirits, fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crab generals were evolving rapidly, but even the dragon elders on the shores of the 4 seas felt that powerful power was pouring into their bodies, and they began to discover what was hidden in their bodies. Huge power. Some dragon clan elders directly evolved from a 1-clawed golden dragon to a 2-clawed golden dragon. There are also dragon clan elders who have evolved from 2-clawed golden dragons to 3-clawed golden dragons. Some dragon clan elders directly evolved from 3-clawed golden dragons to 4-clawed golden dragons. In short, the entire 4 seas coast passively evolved by 1 level at this moment. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. It has increased by 3 points. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. It has increased by 3 points. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. It has increased by 3 points. And while the entire 4 seas coast was undergoing drastic evolution, the system's reminders naturally never stopped ringing in Ao Qing's ears. However, what makes Bao Qing a little surprised is that the previous prompt only increased the luck point by 1 point, but now, the improvement in luck actually increased by 3 points. In just a few breaths, he gained another evolution point. It's a pity that this 1 point of evolution cannot play a huge role. Many things require 3 or 4 points of evolution to evolve again. But even so, Ao Qing is still very excited and excited. I don't know how long it took, but when the entire shore of the 4 seas became completely quiet and all the fishes had completed their evolution, Bao Qing slowly spoke to Prime Minister Turtle and others. Prime Minister Turtle, please compile the statistics and summon them. Elders of the Dragon Clan, let's hold a court meeting. Prime Minister Turtle nodded heavily, turned and left quickly. He admired the Dragon Emperor to an unprecedented degree in his heart. He could clearly feel that the overall evolution of the 4 seas coast had nothing to do with the Dragon Emperor's attainment. As for the content of the meeting, no need to think about it, it must be about the next development of the 4 seas Dragon Clan. When he thought of the 3 decrees of the Dragon King that had made the 4 seas Dragon Clan develop so rapidly the last time, he felt even more excited. After a while, the Dragon Clan elders from all over the world gathered in a dark crowd at the entrance of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. They stood in 2 rows like a human being holding a court meeting, and stood respectfully beside Bao Qing. Forward. It can be clearly seen that the number of Dragon Clan elders who came to the meeting this time was much higher than that of the first court meeting. It is not an exaggeration to even describe it as doubling. Even Prime Minister Gui, who was standing not far from Nao Qing, felt a sense of pride in his heart when he saw these numerous Dragon Clan elders. Ao Guang, the former Dragon King of the East China Sea, was stunned at first and then overjoyed. Unexpectedly, without knowing it, the Dragon Clan on the shores of the Four Seas had developed so much. Prime Minister Gui, please give a brief report on the situation along the Four Seas. Nao Qing sat on the dragon chair and waved his hand. It's been a while since he heard a report from Prime Minister Gui. He didn't quite understand the specific scale of Seihaiban's development, so he just took this opportunity to find out more. Yes, Prime Minister Turtle nodded heavily. The Dragon Clan elders, Ao Guang, Ao Bing and others couldn't help but pricked up their ears. They also wanted to know how far the Four Seas Dragon Clan had developed and how far they were from unifying the three realms. Under the hard work of the Dragon King in the past few months, the entire Four Seas coast has shown a vibrant scene. Among them, the strength of our shrimp soldiers and crab generals in the Four Seas coast has increased from 200,000 to 200,000. At 300,000, these 300,000 shrimp soldiers have all turned into lobster soldiers, and as for the crab generals, they have also increased from 30,000 to 80,000, and they have all evolved into dragon and crab god generals. As for the 1.8 million fish spirit fish monsters, within a few weeks, the number doubled, becoming more than 3.6 million fish spirit fish monsters, and these more than 360 fish spirit fish monsters, thousands of fish spirits and fish monsters are no less powerful than the previous shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Among the more than 3.6 million, there are fully 30 carp spirits that have evolved into dragons. Although the remaining fish spirits and fish monsters he has not been able to transform into a dragon, but he still has many realms that are very fast and extremely powerful. The number of dragon elders who have successfully transformed into golden dragons has increased from a dozen to more than 50. Among them, the three-clawed golden dragons account for more than half, forming the backbone of the Four Seas Dragon Clan's combat power, and the top combat power is on the other hand, the quantity has almost doubled. While Prime Minister Gui was reporting, he handed the form that he had already compiled in front of Bao Qing. It has to be said that after the evolution, Prime Minister Turtle's efficiency has also improved. In just a few days, everything was counted. Even Bao Qing was a little lucky to have such a capable assistant. Hearing Prime Minister Gui's return, Ao Guang, Ao Bing and others were extremely excited. Judging from the numbers alone, the overall combat power of this Four-Sea coast had not just doubled. There are more than 50 fish monsters that have transformed into dragons. I am afraid no one knows what this means better than them. Not bad. Nao Qing nodded lightly, very satisfied with the rapid development of the Dragon Clan in the Four Seas. Prime Minister Gui, go on. The above is the military aspect of the Four Seas Dragon Clan. In terms of finance, due to the rapid development of the Four Seas Dragon Clan, the financial aspect has also developed rapidly. Many rich minerals have been mined. Let's not mention this for the time being. But in terms of practice, just this week during this time, more than 4,000 academies were built, and the number of aquarium teachers who taught fish spirits, fish monsters, shrimps, soldiers, and generals to practice in martial arts arenas also increased by 5,000, providing a strong foundation for aquatic cultivation. A powerful guarantee. As for the fish spirits and fish monsters that can transform, the number is also increasing crazily. When Prime Minister Turtle said this, even he felt a little proud. Once upon a time, how embarrassed the Dragon Clan was in the Four Seas. And what is the situation of the Seahai Dragon Clan today? Next, Prime Minister Turtle talked a lot about the situation on the shores of the Four Seas. Basically, all the data were developing rapidly. Bao Qing listened attentively and was very satisfied with this. Very satisfied. After Prime Minister Gui finished speaking, Nao Qing, who was sitting on the dragon chair, finally spoke slowly. The purpose of convening you and others for a court meeting today is very simple, that is, the Seahai Dragon Clan has practiced human swordsmanship before and has made great progress, which has also improved the overall combat power of the Seahai Dragon Clan. However, this alone is not enough. Next, the development goal of the Seahai Dragon Clan is also very simple, which is to implement 9-year spiritual education. Excellent implementation. Increase the chance of transformation. What? 9 years of compulsory training. 9 years of compulsory training. As soon as Dragon Emperor Bao Qing finished speaking, all the Dragon Clan elders, Prime Minister Turtle and others were stunned for a moment, with doubts on their faces. 9 years of compulsory training. What is this? That's right, Dragon King, what does 9 years of compulsory training mean? Prime Minister Turtle and the elders of the Dragon Clan were all talking and scrambling. Seeing the confused expressions on everyone's faces, Bao Qing curled his lips slightly. I am afraid that only he, a time traveler, knows the meaning of 9 years of compulsory education. However, this does not affect his ability to govern the shores of the world. Before this, Bao Qing specially sent people to investigate. After the birth of aquatic creatures, they often have some opportunities to transform. Even if the seawater on the shores of the 4 seas has become holy water, it has only improved the quality of the 4 seas. It's just the probability of waterfront creatures transforming. Although the fish spirits and fish monsters obtained by transforming in this way are numerous, they are still somewhat inefficient. After a series of data comparisons, Bao Qing was shocked to discover that if the aquatic creatures were given the knowledge to develop wisdom and practice when they were born, then the chances of the aquatic creatures transforming into human form would be greatly increased, and not only in this way, the talents of aquatic creatures can also be improved. In other words, if you help aquatic creatures develop wisdom and teach them the knowledge of cultivation when they are born, then there is a high chance that this aquatic creature can transform and possess extremely high talents. Therefore, Bao Qing thought that if he wanted to further improve the combat effectiveness of Seehaiban, he must start from the birth of aquatic creatures. Just like modern education, from the beginning, he must receive various teachings and various knowledge. And once his 9-year compulsory practice is implemented, the number of fish spirits and fish monsters that can transform in the 4 seas will inevitably increase a lot, and they will have higher talents. Moreover, even if they are just monsters, they still need to arm themselves with knowledge, and such monsters are often extremely talented. And this is the purpose of Bao Qing's plan to implement 9 years of compulsory spiritual education. It's very simple, that is, from the moment they are born, aquatic creatures are given knowledge, wisdom, and cultivation methods, just like human beings. Bao Qing smiled faintly. Now there are so many cultivation academies along the coast of the world. Martial Arts Arena already has the foundation to implement this project. Hearing this, Prime Minister Turtle and others exchanged looks in surprise, and then their eyes lit up with a bright light. For the monster clan, it is very important to develop wisdom, but many monsters do not have such an opportunity at all, so they live in ignorance for a lifetime, even living an ordinary life. But if the 9-year compulsory practice is implemented, then many monsters will be able to transform easily, and it will also give them higher talents and contribute to the shores of the world. The Prime Minister Turtle once had the opportunity to become the Prime Minister under the Dragon King because he had read more books than other monsters. Monsters like him know the power of knowledge very well. As for the other Dragon Clan elders, they all nodded, thinking that the Dragon Emperor was really extraordinary, he could think of such a method. As expected of Lord Dragon King, he was able to think of such a method. Yes, if this is the case, once the 9-year compulsory practice is implemented, I believe that our shores will be in a different situation. Lord Dragon King, Lord Dragon King. All the dragons from the East China Sea nodded in agreement with this move. Prime Minister Gui, I'll leave this matter to you. By the way, let's build a few more training academies. As for the specific implementation methods and restrictions, I'll leave it to you to discuss. Bao Qing shrugged. Dragon King, he can control the overall direction and specific details and leave it to his subordinates. Yes, Prime Minister Gui nodded heavily, very excited. This other thing is also very simple, that is, the number of shrimps, soldiers, crabs, fish monsters and fish monsters on the shores of the 4 seas is increasing. The equipment reserves on the shores of the 4 seas are no longer enough. Ao Guang, I will hand over the matter of replenishing combat readiness. Here you go. Bao Qing's eyes fell on Ao Guang again. Ao Guang nodded heavily when he heard this. These things were originally what they wanted to respond to. After all, many shrimp soldiers and crab generals have recently learned martial arts, but Shushan sword control is not a waste of weapons. Qingwei, I'm a teacher of swordsmanship from fish spirits, fish monsters, shrimp soldiers and crab generals. I hope you can work harder. Bao Qing's eyes fell on an old man in white again. This old man is none other than Qingwei, the first-generation head of Shushan who was brought back from Shushan by Naoqing using the 9-colored exquisite pagoda. Now Qingwei has completely become a slave to the shores of the world. What does Naoqing ask him to do? He does whatever he wants and never dares to neglect. Dragon King, please don't worry. Please don't worry about teaching Shushan swordsmanship to Qingwei. Now Qingwei has trained many shrimp soldiers with advanced swordsmanship. Qingwei slightly handed over his hand. He didn't know what was going on. When he saw it, when the Dragon King becomes young, his heart is full of infinite worship and willing surrender. Of course, he didn't know that this was the heaven-defying effect of the 9-color exquisite pagoda. Well, not bad. Now Qing nodded slightly. Immediately afterwards, Now Qing assigned many tasks to the Dragon Clan elders, Prime Minister Turtle and others, ordering them to complete them within a few days. After completing all these tasks, Now Qing dispersed and returned to the court. While he himself returned, he went to the East China Sea Dragon Palace, sat on the dragon bed and started practicing. Although his realm has entered the level of quasi-sage, both his dragon god art and his foundation are not solid. He needs time to completely consolidate, otherwise, he is likely to go crazy. The whole body immediately exuded strong dragon power. Sitting cross-legged on the dragon bed, Now Qing directly entered the 7th level of dragon god art, and soon reached the 8th level, and began to attack the 8th level. Compared with the 7th level of dragon god art, the 8th level of dragon god art is more solid and focuses on the practice of dragon spells, especially thunder tribulation. As Now Qing began to attack the 8th level of dragon god art, it could be clearly seen that his whole body began to emit strong thunder and lightning power. These thunder and lightning powers made a popping sound, and had a faint impact. Looking around, the entire East China Sea Dragon Palace was shaken. The entire East China Sea Dragon Palace was also filled and shrouded in strong thunder and lightning power, as if it was thundering. If there were any immortals here at this moment, they would be so frightened that they would run away quickly, because the thunder and lightning are the same as the thunder of thunder and calamity, and they are extremely terrifying. The first official start. Boom. I don't know how long it took, but suddenly, the sky above the shores of the 4 seas quickly gathered into a dark cloud. After a while, the dark cloud covering the entire sky quickly started to move, illuminating the dark sky like daylight. Crackling. A purple light thunder that was as thick as several sky pillars suddenly split and descended on the entire shore of the sea, causing various vibrations around it. Seeing that purple light thunder was about to level the entire coast of the 4 seas and turn it into nothing, suddenly, a giant dragon with a body of more than 1,000 feet, covering the entire sky, and even bigger than the coast of the East China Sea suddenly appeared. The golden scales shone with a strange light, which was very blinking, especially the huge dragon head, whose beard alone was as thick as a human being. A shocking scene happened immediately. The dragon head suddenly opened its bloody mouth. Facing the falling purple light thunder, it didn't even dodge or avoid it, and just let the purple light thunder fall. The giant dragon did not twitch as it was hit by lightning as imagined. On the contrary, after the purple light thunder fell, the entire dragon shone even more brightly and was in high spirits. The purple light thunder was like stars holding it. Like the moon, it surrounded the dragon and never disappeared. Is this the 7th heavenly thunder? Suddenly, the giant dragon spoke human words. After a moment, the huge dragon body hovering over the coast of the East China Sea suddenly shrank and turned into a human form. It was Bao Qing. At this moment, Ao Qing looked at the sky thunder that gradually dissipated and then entangled around him, with a slight grin on his lips. After he started to practice the 8th level of Dragon God Art, Yao Qing went through several practices and finally understood the mystery of the 8th level of Dragon God Art. He was able to perfectly control the 7th level of heavenly tribulation. He was only just one step away from breaking through to the 8th level. Step. Don't underestimate this 7th level thunder. You must know that this 7th level thunder is the 7th level heavenly tribulation. Only many mythical top masters with tens of thousands of years of Taoism dare to face the super thunder and super thunder tribulation. In this mythical world, if the gods want to live long, they basically have to live a small tribulation of 500 and 1,000 years. These small tribulations are basically small thunder tribulations of 1 to 4 or 5 levels, while the big tribulations are it is a heavenly calamity above the 6th level. The more advanced the Taoism and the longer the lifespan of an immortal, the more severe the thunder tribulations he has experienced. Basically, reaching the 7th level of heavenly tribulation means that the immortal has at least tens of thousands of years of Taoism. It can be described as boundless in power. Never an exaggeration. But even gods with boundless magic power cannot withstand the power of thunder tribulations of 7 or more levels of heavenly tribulation. One can imagine how powerful and terrifying it is to endure these 7 levels of heavenly thunder. You must know that among the 5 elements of heaven and earth, only thunder tribulation is an existence that no immortal can escape or escape from. However, it has to be said that for other gods, the extremely difficult thunder tribulation is trivial to Bao Qing, because he is the one who releases the thunder tribulation and is immune to the thunder tribulation. After feeling the power of the 7th level thunder for a while, Yao Qing showed a thick smile, feeling very satisfied. He had been able to control the 5th level thunder tribulation and the 6th level thunder tribulation before, and he already had certain powerful spell skills. Now he has it again. One can imagine the excitement in his heart due to the 7th level of thunder tribulation. Call. After taking a breath and waiting until all the blood vessels in his body were normal, Yao Qing was ready to return to the shores of the 4 seas. When he sent down the thunder tribulation just now, he had already informed Prime Minister Gui and others not to go to sea. Naturally, there were no elders of the Dragon Clan to bow down to Zhou Qing at this moment. And at this moment, with a pop, a shrimp soldier sent by Yao Qing to find out the news knelt directly in front of Yao Qing. Of course, now this shrimp soldier has evolved under the evolution of holy water and turned into a lobster soldier. Dragon Emperor, as you expected, King Zhou of the Shang dynasty accidentally passed by the Nuwa temple when he returned to the Shang dynasty. He desecrated Nuwa and wanted to marry Nuwa. After that, Shang Zhou the king then led a group of people back to Yin Shang. The lobster soldier knelt on the ground and reported with admiration. He was originally a little confused as to why the Dragon King asked him to keep an eye on the human race's King Zhou, but now he vaguely understood. After hearing the report of the lobster warrior, Bao Qing curled up his lips slightly and said to himself that the plot of the conferring god has really officially entered the point. Although according to the plot, the king of Shangzhou married Nuwa in the front, and Nezha was pregnant for 3 years and caused trouble in the East China Sea. However, obviously because of his appearance, the plot has shifted a little. However, this is not important. The most important thing is that he, the Dragon Clan, has accumulated a lot of experience and can finally take advantage of the official start of the conferred god plot to rise up against the sky and sound the clarion call to unify the 3 realms. Chapter 71. Well, I understand this Dragon Emperor. Bao Qing waved his hand, indicating that the lobster warriors could leave. With a swipe sound, the lobster warrior dodged away, and the smile on the corner of Bao Qing's mouth became even stronger. To put it simply, the plot of Feng Shen Bang is that King Zhou of Shang was stupid and ignorant, and the people were angry. King Wu of Zhou and King Wen of Zhou raised the flag of rebellion and led Nezha, Yangjian and other righteous men to overthrow the tyranny of King Zhou of Shang and establish the Zhou dynasty. Then Zhang Zia general stories about those generals of the Yin, Shang and Zhou dynasties who contributed their strength and were granted the title of immortals. Of course, on the surface, this is a simple matter of dynasty change. In fact, behind this dynasty change, the 5 great saints, plus Nuwa Empress and others control the entire chessboard, plotting against each other and redividing myths. The story of World Turf. At the end of the story, Nuwa punished King Zhou of Shang for blaspheming her, and helped the 2 great saints Yuanshi Tianzun and Taishang Laojun to install and cultivate many of their own forces in heaven, and another great saint, Tongtian Cult Master, came from them. After the defeat, the apprentice who had worked so hard to train became a prisoner, not to mention almost losing his life. As for the Western cults Jiang Taoist and Zhenti Taoist, they took this opportunity to save many monks, became the foundation of Western religion, completely stabilized Western religion, laid the foundation for Buddhism, and also laid hidden dangers for the subsequent conflict between Buddhism and Taoism. Regardless of the list of gods, the disciples of Yuanshi Tianzun and Taishang Laojun, the leader of Tongtian, are all on the list, but in fact, under the control of Zhang Zia, most of the disciples of the leader of Tongtian are trash gods and little gods after they are made gods. The disciples of Yuanshi Tianzun have basically become powerful gods, such as Nezha, Li Jing and his son, who are in charge of 100,000 heavenly soldiers and generals in heaven. There are many more powerful monks than them in the entire list of gods. Why should they be in charge? For example, Yang Jian, Yuan Hong, who was transformed into a spirited white ape, is not weaker than Yang Jian, but he can only succumb to Yang Jian and become one of the 6 monsters of Meishan. The plot of function, to put it simply, is a process of political reshuffling and power reshuffling. And what Bao Qing did was to take advantage of this political reshuffle and power reshuffle to rise up against the will of heaven. And just when Ao Qing was practicing the dragon god art, and reaching the 8th level, the 7th level of thunder tribulation, at this moment, Yin Shang. As the orthodox heir of the Shang dynasty, King Zhou of Shang was sitting on the dragon throne at this moment, his eyes shining with brilliance. In front of him, there were a crowd of civil and military ministers standing in darkness. This time when Taishi went on an expedition, he finally defeated the giant Quanrong. As a result, the land of our Shang dynasty expanded again. Yes, very good. I am afraid that this world is already in the hands of this king. King Zhou of Shang slowly spoke. He was excited. Come here, give me a reward. Soon, a large pile of gold and silver treasures was carefully carried by several servants, and slowly was carried in front of the civil and military ministers. Seeing so many gold and silver treasures, the eyes of the civil and military ministers were filled with excitement. In an instant, it became extremely shiny. Thank you, Your Majesty. The rewarded Master Wen was a white-haired old general with extremely sharp eyes. He had the air of a general, and a strong murderous aura slowly spread out from his body. And he, like Li Jing of Chintangguan, is also a monk. He is a disciple of Master Tongtian, who sits on the Golden Spirit Mother. His mount is Mo Qilin, holding an ink whip, and he is extremely powerful. I don't know, helped King Zhou of Shang to conquer many kingdoms. As Master Wen spoke, he made a gesture of holding his hands, and then slowly stepped aside. He had long been accustomed to King Zhou's rewards. Ha ha ha, King Zhou of Shang was very happy. This dog Rong giant had always been a thorn in the side of his rule of the Shang dynasty. The elimination of the dog Rong giant meant that the Shang dynasty had completely ushered in a peaceful stage. Thinking like this, King Zhou of Shang suddenly noticed that there were a few missing figures among the civil and military ministers, and he was stunned for a moment. Why haven't you seen Li Jing and his wife? Why haven't they come to court? King Zhou of Shang frowned. As soon as he finished speaking, the civil and military ministers all looked at each other in confusion. Even Grand Master Wen frowned and his face turned a little pale, which looked very unsightly. Your Majesty, Li Jing and his wife were taken away by the Sihai Dragon clan a few days ago. One of the ministers said cautiously. Huh, what? King Huo of Shangzhou suddenly stood up, with a face full of surprise. He was still very clear about the strength of Li Jing and his wife, but what made him a little incredible was that the small Sihai Dragon clan could actually take away the 2 of them. After all, the Chintangguan Li Jing couple were also his right-hand men. His right-hand men disappeared like this, which made King Zhou extremely unhappy no matter what. The Dragon Clan of the 4 Seas. Isn't it just the little Dragon King of the 4 Seas? It's just a few demon dragons. With their strength, they can also harass Li Jing and his wife in Chintangguan. It's really embarrassing. King Zhou of Shang shrugged his shoulders indifferently, and his eyes fell on the ministers in front of him. It just so happens that my king lacks a belt made of dragon tendons. Which general killed him for my king? As a dignified person, King Zhou of the Yin and Shang dynasties could not tolerate the little demon dragon causing chaos in his territory. As soon as he finished speaking, several generals walked out slowly and held up their hands. Your Majesty, I am willing to slay the demon dragon for your Majesty and level the shores of the 4 seas. Your Majesty, you are just a little demon dragon. I am willing to fight and destroy the demon dragon and bring peace to all the seas. Among the generals, even Grand Master Wen slowly stepped forward, planning to send out 100,000 elite soldiers of the Shang dynasty to pacify the shores of the 4 seas. After all, Li Jing and his wife said that they were also old friends with Grand Master Wen. Among the civil and military ministers, one of them who was well informed slowly walked out with a slight frown. Your Majesty, with the strength of Sihiban, it is impossible to kill Li Jing and his wife, and the minister also heard that there is Tai in Chintangwan. Under the guardianship of real people, not to mention ordinary demons, even the masters of the demon clan who have practiced Taoism for thousands of years will not dare to go to Chintangwan easily. This demonic dragon is causing trouble in Chintangwan. It is really strange to do so. If we go there rashly, we will probably cause huge losses to the demonic dragon from all over the world. The civil servant who spoke, with exquisite facial features, was none other than the loyal minister Biggin, who possessed a delicate heart. Oh, even the rebellious dog Rong giants are no match for this king. They are invincible under my king's elite soldiers and are destroyed. What does a small shore of the four seas mean to me? King Zhou of Shang curled his lips in disdain, showing a disapproving expression. Several ministers on the side also looked with contempt on their faces, feeling that Lord Biggin was just overthinking and it was all unfounded worries. In the Shang and Zhou dynasties, when everyone was a monk, monsters basically walked around with their tails between their legs. What's more, they were still so weak that they were boundless monsters from all over the world. Just as the civil and military ministers were thinking like this, a faint voice slowly sounded. It seems that this dragon emperor needs to walk around Yin Shang more often. Otherwise, everyone would think that this dragon emperor is a demon dragon that is easy to bully. As soon as the voice fell, an unprecedented powerful dragon's power suddenly spread, fiercely centered on the owner of the voice. Those civil and military ministers who had been happily chatting just now felt a strong pressure appear at this moment, suppressing it fiercely, like a mountain bearing down on them, making their breathing become uncomfortable and unable to continue breathing. Even King Zhou of Shang, who had the aura of an emperor to protect his body, felt that his face was as pale as paper. Click, click, click. In the palaces of the Shang dynasty, huge cracks appeared in many glazed tiles, stone bricks and the like in an instant. Immediately, these cracks could not withstand the terrifying power and directly exploded into fragments flying in the sky. The entire magnificent Shang dynasty palace seemed to have been razed to the ground. The next moment, the civil and military ministers and the kings of Shang dynasty moved their bodies with difficulty, and their horrified eyes fell on the source of the sound. They saw a huge dragon body of more than 1,000 feet, quietly hovering in the Shang dynasty. The sky above the palace covered the sky and the sun, covering everything. The originally daytime sky suddenly became dim, and when seen from a distance, it was extremely visually impactful. Dragon, dragon, 5 claws, 6 claws, 7 claws, 8 clawed, 9 clawed, 9 clawed golden dragon. All the civil and military ministers were horrified, especially when one of them counted the 9-clawed golden dragon. His expression changed greatly. I never thought that there would be a 9-clawed golden dragon in this world. Who are you? King Zhou of Shang tried his best to suppress the fear in his heart. At this time, Grand Master Wen and others were already standing in front of King Zhou of Shang, protecting the safety of King Zhou of Shang. Even if he heard a powerful being like Grand Master Wen, he only felt like it was difficult to breathe, as if Mount Tai was overwhelming him. This feeling, not even the giant dog Rong, had ever given him such a feeling. King Zhou of Shang had just finished speaking. Among the surprised civil and military ministers, the loyal minister Biggin slowly said, "You, aren't you the monster on the shores of the four seas, the Dragon King?" As soon as he finished speaking, there were gasps of air from all the civil and military ministers, and their eyes were filled with horror and shock. When did this small seashore have such terrifying characters? This looks like the 9-clawed golden dragon. I think back in the prehistoric times, the ancestors of the dragon clan were just 12-clawed golden dragons. Protect this king. King Zhou of Shang seemed to feel something and said quickly. Grand Master Wen and the soldiers were barely able to resist Ao Qing's momentum at this moment and stood in front of King Zhou of Shang. Dragon Emperor, why are you here today? Among the ministers, Bai Gan was the bolder and said with courage. Hearing Biggin's inquiry, Ao Qing's lips curled up slightly. If he remembered correctly, Biggin was loyal to the Shang dynasty and had a delicate heart, but in the end he died under the calculations of Daji and others. He was a tragic character. As for his coming here today, his purpose is actually very simple. The purpose of my visit here today is very simple. that is, all parts of the Shang dynasty should follow the example of Chintangwan and build a Dragon King temple for my Dragon Emperor. Otherwise, the Yin and Shang dynasties will suffer from drought for many years and no grass will grow. Ao Qing's lips curled up slightly. After practicing the Dragon God art, he was thinking about how to continue to increase his reputation and the Dragon clan's luck, and there was nothing easier than in the human world to increase these data. Moreover, in the last time, he had tasted the benefits of incense sacrifice from the people of Chintangwan. Now his level has entered the quasi-sage level. If he wants to go further, this incense cultivation and merit cultivation are necessary. In fact, this is why Buddhism and Taoism build temples and offer incense. You must know that many gods rely on incense to practice. For example, the Tathagata Buddha, the boss of Buddhism, relied on incense to become a complete saint. Dragon King Temple. King Zhou of Shang frowned and was very unhappy, but when he thought of the terror of the Dragon King in front of him just now, he couldn't help but take a deep breath and suppress the anger in his heart. After all, he is also the master of the human race. He will do whatever a demon dragon asks him to do. Doesn't this mean he has become the demon dragon's slave? If I choose. King Shang Yang was about to refuse, and only heard the crisp sound of the crispness suddenly sounded. I saw that the dozens of shrimp soldiers who did not know when it would occur to control the sword, and killed hundreds of attempts to threaten Ao Qing. The name of the Shang Dynasty Guard. These Shang Dynasty guards didn't even bother to attack, and all of them were pierced by the flying swords, and they could not die anymore. Seeing this scene, King Zhou of Shang felt his heart skip a beat, and the civil and military officials throughout the dynasty were also horrified, especially Master Wen and others who had followed Master Tongtian since childhood, who were even more shocked. How could they not see that the technique used by this shrimp soldier was Shushan sword controlling technique? And these shrimp soldiers are so proficient in using Shushan swordsmanship and can control so many swords. They are extremely powerful. They can't imagine that these are shrimp soldiers with mediocre talents on the shores of the four seas. This is Shushan sword control. Master Wen exclaimed in surprise. It just happened that my subordinates knew a little bit. Ao Qing shrugged his shoulders. The huge dragon body shone with astonishing light, shocking the entire palace of the Shang dynasty, as if suppressing everything. Even a fool can see that this Dragon King is a threat. I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it. This Dragon Emperor is impatient. Seeing that King Zhou of Shang did not act for a long time, Ao Qing pretended to be a little impatient and said, and at the same time, he stretched out 3 fingers. 3. And just as he was doing this, a pleasant reminder sounded in his ears again. If anyone is here at this moment, they will be surprised to find that Ao Qing's shock alone has given the Dragon Clan more than 10 points of Dragon Clan's luck. Especially when the shrimp soldiers take action, the Dragon Clan's luck will increase even more. I got 5 or 6 points directly. HMPH, I want to see what your so-called Dragon King is really capable of. In the palace of the Shang dynasty, Grand Master Wen and others finally couldn't stand it anymore. One of the monks named Huang Feihu snorted coldly and rushed towards Ao Qing with a long sword in hand. Seeing Huang Feihu take action, Master Wen and others did not hesitate and took action one after another. Many of them have been cultivating in the Immortal Mountain Cave since childhood, especially Master Wen, who once worshipped under the banner of the Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit in Penglai Immortal Island Bio Palace, the leader of Tongtian. He has high magical power and extremely tyrannical strength. He also surrendered his Mount Mo. Qilin has now cultivated to the quasi-golden immortal state. And this Huang Feihu is not an ordinary person. His family has guarded the frontier for the Shang dynasty for generations. Feihu himself once became a disciple of Yuan Shi Tianzun, learned a magical skill, and is now in the realm of quasi-golden immortal. Huang Feihu and Wen Taishi were jointly known as the 2 most important ministers of the Shang dynasty. Sometimes even King Zhou would give them a little bit of thin noodles. Of course, if Huang Feihu knew that King Zhou's debauchery later brought disaster to his wife, I'm afraid he would be unwilling to take action at this moment. I'll come too. As the 2 important ministers took action, among the civil and military ministers, the 4 generals of the Mo family who had followed Li Jing and his wife, Mo Li Hong, Mo Li Qing and others also held magic weapons and took action one after another, hoping to completely kill Ao Qing here. Facing the combined attack of everyone, Ao Qing curled his lips slightly. Although these people's strength level was low, they should not be underestimated with their own powerful magic weapons. But, so what? 7th level of Thunder Tribulation. Ao Qing's huge dragon body suddenly shook, and the dragon scales that reflected the bright golden light shone with 7-color light. Amidst the violent rumbling sounds, countless thunder and lightning surged from his scales like raindrops, out. In just a few breaths, Ao Qing's huge dragon body was surrounded by all kinds of thunder and lightning, which started to move faintly. From a distance, Ao Qing at this moment was like a giant dragon flying on the thunder clouds. Rumbling, giving people a very shocking feeling. Still far away, the faces of Huang Feihu, Master Wen and others changed greatly. They felt the terrifying power of the thunder and lightning in shock, as if they were going through a catastrophe. Oops! Flash mob. The terrifying power. Make a lot of money. Several of them were monks. How could they not feel that the terrifying dragon power unleashed from Bao Qing was the power of thunder and calamity? Although they didn't know how to achieve it, they had to say that the power of this thunder tribulation really frightened them, the kind of deep fear that came from their bones. The next moment, along with a crackling sound, a terrifying lightning flash illuminated the dim sky like daylight, and headed straight for Huang Feihu, Grand Master Wen, and the 4 generals of magic armor. It is worth mentioning that although most of these monks will become the mainstays in heaven, it is a pity that they have no future. Crackling, several intense bolts of lightning split directly down, and under the horrified gazes of Huang Feihu, Master Wen, and the 4 generals of the demon family, they directly turned into jet black powder flying all over the sky. They were so dead that they could no longer die. The next moment, the strong smell of barbecue spread directly and fiercely, permeating the surroundings of the entire Shang dynasty palace. The shocking scene directly made the civil and military ministers present have horror on their faces, and they were so shocked that they couldn't believe it. Everything that happened before my eyes. This. So powerful. The civil and military ministers were all surprised, but the protected King Zhou himself turned pale, his legs staggered, and he collapsed on the dragon chair. Who could have imagined that this giant dragon in front of them was so powerful? Several generals in the Yin Shang Hall were directly struck to death by that thick bolt of lightning. It also turned into burnt black coal. Although they are not monks, they can still feel that the lightning that splits down is definitely not a general thunder. When the smoke gradually dissipated, it could be clearly seen that where the thunder and lightning had just fallen, everything had been flattened to the ground. It was completely black and exuded an extremely strong burning aura. Call, is this the power of the 7th level thunder tribulation? Bao Qing took a deep breath. Even he could not have imagined that the power of the 7th level thunder tribulation would be so powerful. With just one bolt of lightning, Huang Feihu, Wen Taishi and others were directly eliminated and turned into ashes. Suddenly, Ao Qing's eyes flashed slightly, and he saw 6 ethereal souls suddenly flying out from the thick thunder and lightning, and they also revealed the soul light. When they saw Ao Qing, they all shrank in fear, fearing that they would be Bo Qingxi's the general. How can the souls of these people be easily let go? In fact, this time he came to King Zhou not only to ask King Zhou to build a Dragon King temple for him, but also to directly destroy the list of gods, so that none of the monks who should be canonized as gods could be canonized. In this way, we can maximize the luck of the Dragon clan, thus shocking the mythical world. Of course, these monks who were supposed to become gods were all destroyed, so he would have the opportunity to put his own people in and become gods. The Shan Sheji Qi luck chart was taken out directly, and Bao Qing took it without hesitation. The souls of Huang Feihu, Grand Master Wen and the 4 generals of the demon family were just about to escape when they felt a powerful force appear, like a black hole, making them unable to even move. The next moment, the souls of the 6 people could only watch as they were sucked into the mountains and rivers map, and they lost all consciousness. Not bad. Looking at the destiny map of mountains, rivers, society and land in his hand, Bao Qing was very satisfied. Sure enough, the next moment, a pleasant reminder sounded in his ears. Congratulations! The luck of the Yin Shang border general Huang Feihu was successfully captured by the Shan Sheji Qi luck map. You have obtained the luck of Huang Feihu. Congratulations! The luck of Wen Zhongwen, an important minister of the Yin and Shang dynasties, was successfully captured by the Shan Sheji Qi luck map. You have obtained the luck of Grand Master Wen. Congratulations! The luck of Mo Li Hong, one of the 4 generals of the demon family, was successfully captured by the Shan Sheji luck map. You have obtained the luck of Mo Li Hong. Congratulations! The luck of Mo Liking, one of the 4 generals of the Mo family, was successfully captured by the Shan Sheji luck map. You have obtained the luck of Mo Liking. Listening to the reminder sound in his ears, Yao Qing couldn't help but feel so excited. You know, these monks are all famous people on the list of gods. For example, the 4 generals of the demon family later became the guarding generals of the Nanshan Gate of the Heavenly Court. They were sent to capture the Monkey King, the Monkey King. Huang Feihu became the god of Mount Tai, the leader of the 5 mountains. The Rensheng Emperor of Tianqi is in charge of the good and bad fortunes of the world, and is in charge of the 18 levels of hell in the underworld. His status is extremely respected, and Wen Zhang is even more extraordinary. After his death, he was granted the title of God, and was named the 9 Heavens Yingyuan Thunderous Universal Transformation Heavenly Lord. Supervise and lead the 24 righteous gods of the lay department. Now that the luck of these people has changed, it also means that the future fortunes of these people have also changed. This makes people unhappy and unhappy. It seems that as he expected, the weapons and magic weapons in the hands of the 4 generals of the demon family, Master Wen and Huang Feihu, were all in his dragon claws at the next moment. As for Mo Qilin, who was sitting down when Master Wen was sitting down, he also shouted loudly at this moment. He came under Yao Qing's body with a flattering look on his face. Congratulations! You have obtained Master Wen's acquired spiritual treasure, male and female double whips. These double whips are transformed from 2 male and female dragons. The 2 golden whips press the yin and yang to separate the 2 qi. Their power is unparalleled. Congratulations! You have obtained Taishi Wen's SSS level mount, Mo Qilin. Mo Qilin, the king of the Qilin clan, the most powerful being in the Qilin clan. Congratulations! You have obtained the magical red acquired spiritual treasure, Qingfeng Sword. Qingfeng Sword. There is a talisman on it, divided into 4 words in the middle: earth, water, fire, wind. This wind is black wind, and the wind inside there are thousands of swords and spears. If a person touches this blade, his limbs will turn into powder. If it is a fire, golden snakes will twine in the sky. There will be a black smoke all over the place. The smoke will cover people's eyes, and the flames will burn people without any protection. Congratulations! You have obtained the magic red acquired treasure, Chenkin Umbrella. Listening to the pleasant reminder coming from his ears, the corner of Bao Qing's mouth curled up slightly, thinking that this map of the destiny of the mountains, rivers, society, and land was indeed a magic weapon that defied the heavens. In just a few breaths, he had captured so many magic weapons. Really made a fortune. But soon, Nao Qing suppressed the smile on the corner of his mouth, and a pair of dragon eyes looked at the civil and military ministers in front of him coldly. I'm sorry, who knew there were too many of these people? This dragon emperor just took a small action, they had turned into ashes. King Zhou, what do you think about it? Saying this, Bo Qing stretched out 2 fingers, his eyes flashed with murderous intent, just waiting for the answer from King Zhou and others. As soon as he finished speaking, all the civil and military ministers looked shocked and took several steps back. Even King Zhou himself was as pale as a sheet of paper. Third, Su Daji's plan. Third update. At this moment, not far from the palace of King Zhou of the Shang dynasty, a small group of people slowly stopped following the stop of the leader. A minister wearing Shang dynasty costumes, headed by a horse, looked at the giant dragon hovering above the Shang dynasty palace not far away, showing horror. This is. Quote. Following this person's exclamation, the team members also subconsciously raised their heads, and couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, with faces full of surprise. Where did this dragon come from? This giant dragon's body is so huge that it can cover the entire sky. It's really terrifying. Yes, this dragon is really terrifying. Among the small group of people, there was a beautiful woman sitting in a carriage. When he heard the panic outside, he subconsciously opened the curtain of the carriage and couldn't help but look outside. Unexpectedly, it didn't matter if he didn't look at it, but when he saw it, he was frightened by the huge dragon, especially the strong power of the dragon, which made the beautiful woman a little unbearable. However, it was not that the beautiful woman was unable to bear the suppression of Long Wei, but her transformation technique was almost unable to be maintained due to Long Wei. When did such a terrifying giant dragon come into being among our demon clan? The beautiful woman said with a frown. If you were here at this moment, you would be extremely surprised, because this person is none other than Su Daji, who will bring disaster to the country and the people in the future, and make King Zhou stupid and immoral. Of course, the Su Daji at this time is not the real Su Daji, but the Su Daji who was snatched away by a 1,000-year-old vixen. Since that day, the story of the god-making began completely. After King Zhou of Shang blasphemed Nua, Nua assigned a 1,000-year-old vixen to bring harm to the Shang dynasty. No, as soon as the 1,000-year-old vixen heard that Su Hu, one of the princes, was going to sacrifice his daughter, he waited for the procession to seize Su Daji's body as the procession passed by. He planned to use his beauty to confuse King Zhou of Shang and complete the task assigned to her by the Empress Nua, thus completely prospering the Fox clan. You must know that vixens like them with no special abilities are on the verge of decline among all races. Only by embracing the lap of King Zhou of Shang and Empress Nua can they regain their glory. Originally, the 1,000-year-old vixen followed Su Hu all the way south, and the journey went smoothly. Just when the 1,000-year-old vixen thought that she was about to meet King Zhou of Shang, she encountered a scene in front of her. What surprised the 1,000-year-old vixen was which demon master actually dared to make trouble in the palace of the Shang dynasty. You must know that there were many monks with powerful magic powers in the Shang dynasty. Even if he was 1,000-year-old vixens should be treated with caution and caution. While Su Daji, the 1,000-year-old vixen, was thinking, his father, Su Hu's somewhat heavy voice suddenly sounded, "No, there is a demon dragon causing trouble. I'm afraid the Shang dynasty will be in trouble today. Daji, you follow the team. Come with Dad." As he spoke, a clanging sound was heard. A sharp sword appeared in Su Hu's hand, and he led the entire team to the Shang dynasty palace cautiously. Looking at the majestic dragon in the sky, Su Daji was shocked for a moment, beating her drum, and there was even the slightest thought of surrender in her heart. This feeling is very strange. Su Daji has never felt like this before, and she has only experienced it with Nua, the leader of the demon clan. For some reason, she suddenly didn't want to be the wife of King Zhou of Shang. While she was thinking, Su Hu had already brought Su Daji to the Shang palace. At this moment, in front of the palace of the Shang dynasty, the civil and military ministers looked horrified, with beads of sweat the size of beans gathering on their foreheads. King Zhou of Shang himself was so frightened that his body left a fishy smell. Su Daji saw this scene. The original expectations disappeared in an instant. Dragon, Lord Dragon King, everything is easy to discuss. Isn't it just to build the Dragon King temple? I will let my subordinates take care of it now. Seeing that Nao Qing was about to extend his second finger, King Zhou of Shang hurriedly said with a smile, with a look of fear on his face, fearing that he might cause destruction if he was not careful. Until now, he still remembered the terrifying scene just now. A bolt of lightning directly turned Huang Feihu, Master Wen and others into fly ash, and even their souls disappeared. Well, that's right. I hope that within a week, the entire Shang dynasty can build at least 5,000 Dragon King temples. Bao Qing nodded slightly. This time it can be said that he has gained a lot. Not only did the Shang dynasty build the Dragon King temple for him, but he also obtained a lot of magic weapons, which greatly improved the luck of the Dragon clan. 5,000 seats. King Zhou of Shang was shocked when he heard this, and his eyes were full of horror. With the current technological level of the Shang dynasty, these 5,000 seats could barely reach the standard after a week of non-stop sleep. Then 6,000 seats. Nao Qing shrugged. "Ah no, don't. 5,000 seats, 5,000 seats." King Zhou of Shang wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and quickly promised, "Dragon Emperor, it will be as many as you say. In 1 week, I promise to build 5,000 seats. Thousands of Dragon King temples." Hearing what King Zhou of Shang said, Bao Qing showed a smile of satisfaction. If his calculations were not wrong, he had accumulated at least 3 evolution points in this wave, which means he gained more than 30 dragon fortunes. However, I believe that after King Zhou builds the Dragon King temple, the Dragon clan's luck will increase even more. Correspondingly, his cultivation speed will be faster. After all, the speed of incense cultivation cannot be matched. Very good. Nodding slightly, Zhou Qing's huge dragon body started to work, and he was about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, he noticed the beautiful woman with extremely delicate facial features in the chaos of the National People's Congress, Su Daji. As a guy who has seen many time travels, Bao Qing has long been curious about Su Daji's beauty. Now, when he saw it, he was indeed different from others, and she was worthy of being one of the peerless beauties. It's a pity that once such a peerless beauty meets him, it will be his fault, and he will never give others any chance. The dragon's claw stretched out domineeringly, and in Su Daji's exclamation, Yao Qing directly caught it in the claws, and then took it away without ceremony. Dragon, Lord Dragon Emperor. Su Daji, who was caught in the dragon's claws, was a little panicked at first, but then he calmed down and didn't struggle at all, and just let Yao Qing take him away. Su Daji, who has practiced Taoism for thousands of years and has only practiced Taoism for 1,000 years, knows deeply that even if she struggles, it is useless. However, what makes Su Daji a little confused is that being taken away by the Dragon King, her heart, I'm actually a little bit lucky. Obviously, compared to King Zhou of Shang Dynasty, it is easier for the Dragon King of the Dragon Clan to make their Vixen clan prosper. In fact, Su Daji didn't know what she was thinking. She could only say that her heart at the moment was extremely complicated. While she was thinking about it, Zhou Qing's huge dragon body suddenly shrank and turned into an elegant and handsome scholar in white, and then fell directly to the ground. It is unimaginable that such an elegant and handsome scholar could be transformed into a giant dragon that is more than 1,000 feet tall. Dragon Emperor, you. At this time, Su Daji broke free from the dragon's claws and stood a few steps in front of Bao Qing. Seeing this handsome scholar, Su Daji didn't know why, but her pretty face suddenly turned red. Seeing Su Daji like this, Bao Qing was stunned for a moment, because a pleasant reminder sounded in his ears. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now it is 52 points. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now it is 54 points. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now the favorability is 60 points. What Bao Qing didn't expect was that the system also had prompts regarding favorability. And looking at the improvement in favorability, Su Daji clearly had a good impression of him. It seemed that no one disliked strong people. Oh, powerful man. However, Bao Qing didn't care about Su Daji's favorability towards him. After all, only licking dogs cared about the so-called favorability. The strong always conquered and won directly. Su Daji, if you want your Vixen clan to prosper completely, it would be a good choice to seek refuge with this Dragon Emperor. As long as you dress well, this Dragon Emperor will ensure that your Vixen clan has peace of mind. Suddenly, Bao Qing slowly he spoke. In the plot of Apotheosis of the Gods, Su Daji, a 1,000-year-old vixen who seizes the body, is actually a tragic character. Not only was she used as a pawn by Empress Nua, but after King Wu conquered Zhou, Zhongxia directly took her life. Even the people who helped her were killed. No. When Su Daji took control of the Shang dynasty, although her Vixen clan benefited a lot, they also caused trouble and were ganged up on by Bigan and others. If it weren't for the Vixen clan, Su Daji would not have entered the Shang dynasty and entered Cheoj. Hearing this, Su Daji was immediately stunned and glanced at Bao Qing in surprise. She didn't expect that this man had seen through everything about her. You, how could you? In Nua's place, you are actually just a pawn. I believe you know this better than me. Bao Qing directly planned Su Daji's words and spoke again. Su Daji stopped talking now. Her pretty face was slightly lowered, thinking about something. Bao Qing grinned slightly. Although the Vixen clan had declined, it still had some effect on him. He might as well seize this opportunity to collect it, which could also sound the clarion call for the Dragon clan from all over the world to attack the Demon clan on the ground. Are you sure you can lead our Vixen clan to prosperity? Su Daji hesitated and asked, but as soon as she said the words, she knew she was wrong. How has the 9-clawed golden dragon ever been born in the Dragon clan of the 4 seas? This point already explains everything. Bao Qing shrugged his shoulders. The next moment, he felt a hot breath coming from beside him. Su Daji, who had peerless beauty, leaned over with a charming face, and his eyes were full of temptation. Even Yao Qing, at this moment, was almost fooled by Su Daji's charm, but after all, he was a 9-clawed golden dragon, and his strength was much higher than that of Su Daji. With a casual hug, Bao Qing directly hugged Su Daji in his arms. He lowered his head and kissed her domineeringly. Of course, at the same time, Bao Qing was also shocked in his heart, thinking that this vixen clan should not be underestimated. The charm just now was almost irresistible. No wonder King Zhou of Shang was so debauched and unethical. After the kiss, Bao Qing remembered that she and Su Daji were still in the Shang dynasty and it was not appropriate to continue, so she slowly let go of Su Daji. The next moment, the system prompt sounded again. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now the favorability is 62 points. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now it is 64 points. Congratulations, Su Daji's favorability towards you has improved. It has increased by 2 points, and now the favorability is 68 points. Hearing the prompts coming from her ears, Bao Qingxin said that Su Daji was too naive. In just a few breaths, his favorability level increased so much, but it has to be said that with this system, help is indeed a blessing. At that moment, Bao Qing was no longer polite and took Su Daji directly back to the shores of the 4 seas. That night, Zuo Qing inevitably had to have a selfless night with Su Daji. They kept tossing it until late at night, and then slowly calmed down. This Bao Qing is originally a descendant of the dragon clan, and one can imagine his endurance during intercourse. Fortunately, Su Daji is a 1,000-year-old vixen, otherwise, ordinary races would really not be able to bear it. In the next few days, Nao Qing stayed with Su Daji. I have to say that with a peerless beauty like Su Daji accompanying me, the originally boring East China Sea Dragon Palace instantly became a lot more lively. As for Ao Guang, Ao Bing and other dragon clan elders, they gradually recognized Su Daji as the new dragon mother, and were all very polite to Su Daji. However, those young dragon mothers on the shores of the 4 seas were extremely envious of Su Daji. After a simple get-together and understanding, Su Daji, who originally thought that Dragon Emperor Aoking was very cruel, finally discovered that Dragon Emperor Aoking was not as cruel as it appeared on the surface. Under his rule, the originally weak Seahai Dragon clan has become so powerful that even the gods are afraid of it. As a result, Su Daji liked Dragon Emperor Bao Qing even more in her heart, and felt even more that entrusting herself to Bao Qing was a very wise and correct choice. Let me ask, who in the entire mythical world can improve the combat effectiveness of a race to such an extent in just a few weeks? Of course, during these days, she had no time to spare. She tried her best to play the role of a wife. When she was tired from cooking, she would always bring a bowl of hot tea, fruits and other things to the cooked food. Daily life and care are in order. It is unimaginable that such Su Daji turned out to be the disaster in history that caused King Zhou to lose his kingdom. Of course, Su Daji didn't know that, quietly, she and her entire Vixen clan had changed their tragic fate because of the existence of Dragon Emperor Ao Qing. If you were to check Su Daji's favorability level at this moment, you would be surprised to find that the favorability level has reached 100 points, a level of unswerving determination. It was another sunny day, and Nao Qing had just gotten up, and the stunningly beautiful Su Daji was already slowly walking over, with a smile on her face and holding Nao Qing's favorite snacks and food in her hands. Although top masters of the dragon clan like Nao Qing do not need to eat or drink at all, they only need to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, but these snacks and food still make Nao Qing feel delicious and can't put it down. After simply finishing the snacks, Su Daji wisely left the room, leaving Nao Qing alone. Taking advantage of Su Daji's absence, Bao Qing focused on his own space package. It had been so long that he almost forgot to sort out the reward materials. The next moment, a pleasant reminder sounded in his ears. Congratulations, you have obtained the acquired spiritual treasure male and female whip. This male and female double whip is a whip transformed by 2 male and female dragons. The combination of yin and yang renews everything, and is extremely powerful. This male and female double whip can be allocated 2 evolution points evolution or not. After evolution, the male and female twin whips will evolve into the innate spiritual treasure yin and yang chaos whip. At the same time, the male and female twin dragons can evolve into 2 3-clawed golden dragons to protect the user. Hearing this pleasant reminder, Aoqing nodded slightly. In fact, this prompt sounded the moment he got the male and female whips, but at that time all his attention was on Yin Shang, and then on Su Daji, so he didn't pay attention to it. Now that it sounded again, Bao Qing chose 2 evolution points without hesitation and allocated them to the male and female whips. The 2 3-clawed golden dragons alone are enough to prove the power and effect of the male and female whips. With the protection of these male and female 3-clawed golden dragons, his combat power will definitely increase again. Without hesitation, Yao Qing chose, yes. And the next moment, the pleasant voice came again. Congratulations, you allocated 2 evolution points to the male and female whips. The male and female whips have begun to evolve. Hearing this, Yao Qing only saw 2 black whips made of steel and shining with light in front of him. In an instant, they began to evolve rapidly, gradually getting longer and larger, and immediately turned into 2 bodies. There are golden dragons that are more than 100 feet long, 1 female and 1 male. When the 2 giant golden dragons saw Yao Qing, they immediately showed expressions of surrender. They bent their dragon bodies and made a bow like Yao Qing, as if they were bowing to him. No need to be formal. Yao Qing shrugged, and the 2 golden dragons immediately turned into light again, turning into the 2 whips in Yao Qing's hands, which were the yin and yang chaos whips. Bao Qing just waved the yin-yang chaos whip, and he felt that the ground on the shores of the 4 seas was shaking, as if an earthquake was about to happen. At that moment, Bao Qing smiled slightly and said in his heart that this innate spiritual treasure is indeed an innate spiritual treasure. It is indeed extraordinary. Just waving it has such power. I think Grand Master Wen got a lot of it from the Golden Spirit Holy Mother under Tongtian cult. What a baby. However, in the plot of Fengshenbang, Grand Master Wen relied on the terrifying power of the male and female whips to beat the armies of King Wu of Zhou and others back again and again. After fiddling with the male and female whips, Bao Qing was just about to turn his attention to the 4 weapons of the 4 generals of the demon family, when a sighing voice resounded without warning. If this Qilin guessed correctly, the blood of the ancestral dragon flows in his body, and he has more unique talents than the ancestral dragon, right? Unexpectedly, the Dragon Emperor's lineage has finally risen in this generation on the shores of the 4 seas. It's a pity that our Qilin clan, Hearing this, Bao Qing was startled for a moment, and then reacted. His eyes fell on the source of the sound, and he saw a dark-colored Qilin sitting quietly in the distance. His eyes were full of sadness. It was obvious that these words it just came out of his mouth. Mo Qilin, Yao Qing suddenly shouted. What he got from Master Wen was not only male and female whips, but also the best mount, the king of the Qilin clan, Mo Qilin. The situation of the Qilin clan is similar to that of the Dragon clan. They were both powerful in the prehistoric times, and then gradually declined after being plotted by the saint. However, compared to the Qilin clan, the situation of the Dragon clan is a little better. At least their descendants still have the shores of the 4 seas to guard them. However, the Qilin clan is wandering around. No, even the leader and king of the Qilin clan, Mo Qilin, has to serve as mounts for little humans. One can imagine how miserable the Qilin clan's situation is. I believe the Dragon King should know the tragic situation of our Qilin clan, but I didn't expect that the Dragon clan would rise so fast, and even the 9-clawed golden dragon would be born. When Mo Qilin said this, he couldn't help but sigh. Immediately, Mo Qilin took a deep breath and hesitated. Lord Dragon Emperor, if you can help our Qilin clan to prosper again, our Qilin clan is willing to follow the Dragon clan forever. I believe it. The Dragon clan also needs the power of our Qilin clan. Over the years, Mo Qilin has seen too many companions displaced. Even his majestic Qilin king can only be used as a mount for others, let alone other Qilin. Seeing the decline of the Qilin clan, one can imagine his inner anxiety. I, the Dragon King, don't care about your strength. However, if you, the Qilin clan, are willing to surrender to us, our Dragon clan can give you a little shelter. After hearing Mo Qilin's words, Bao Qing, who had just finished speaking, suddenly brightened up because he noticed a system prompt. Congratulations, you have gained the support of Mo Qilin, the king of the Qilin clan. Do you want to allocate 3 evolution points to Mo Qilin? After allocating attribute points, Mo Qilin will evolve into Wind and Fire Mo Qilin. It will automatically gain the power to control the 5 elements of wind and fire, and its realm will automatically be upgraded to the peak of the Golden Immortal. Bao Qing is not a fool. Once Mo Qilin is allocated evolution points, he will have another powerful right-hand man, and he can also bring a wave of dragon luck to him. Why not? Just looking at Mo Qilin's evolved Wind and Fire Mo Qilin, you will know that this guy's evolutionary potential is not weaker than that of Prime Minister Turtle and others. Moreover, Mo Qilin is still 100% loyal. Once he takes the Qilin clan to defect, the Dragon Clan, the future of the Dragon Clan is even more promising. And when Nao Qing was thinking about it, Mo Qilin saw that Nao Qing had been deep in thought for a long time without speaking. His heart skipped a beat and he said to himself, the Qilin clan was in such a miserable situation, not to mention that they had once been in conflict with the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Emperor, Yao Qing, was. It's impossible to help him, right? Over the years, Mo Qilin has suffered countless looks and setbacks. He wanted to revive the Qilin clan, but things went counterproductive. Today, the Qilin clan is just a dog of the human race. And how is it possible for a dog to regain its glory? Shine. While Mo Qilin was thinking about this and feeling sad for the miserable situation of the Qilin clan, suddenly, an extremely terrifying force was injected directly into his body, making him feel that an extremely powerful force entered his body. The channels all over his body, among all the bones in the world, especially those acupuncture points, are all penetrated by power. The next moment, he only felt that his limbs and everything were rapidly growing longer and larger, and his whole person seemed to have evolved again. Everything was expanding crazily. Originally, for the 5 elements, wind, he had no sense of the 2 elements, fire, but suddenly felt that he could control the 2 elements, wind, and fire. Everything has become integrated. The 2 elements of wind and fire are like his limbs and bones. As long as he moves his mind, the 2 elements can form a powerful offensive and launch a swift attack on the enemy. And not only that, he clearly felt that in the aura of heaven and earth, the 2 auras of wind and fire were pouring into his body crazily, and he was like a black and huge whirlpool. I don't know how long this feeling lasted. When Mo Qilin opened his eyes again, he could already feel the huge changes in his body. First, it was his ink-like fur. Although it was still ink color, the ink was faintly mixed with the elemental colors of wind and fire. He could give orders to these 2 elements at any time. After that, his body, which was only a few feet long, suddenly grew longer and larger, and his fur was like steel needles. From a distance, it looks like a unicorn stepping on the 2 elements of wind and fire, bringing infinite auspiciousness and infinite hope to people. This is. Mo Qilin clearly felt that he had evolved and reached a new level. All of this was thanks to the young man in front of him. Then, as if he had figured something out, Mo Qilin plopped down and knelt on the ground. Fengwo Mo Qilin, bow down to my emperor. From now on, our Qilin clan will swear to follow the Dragon Emperor to the death, and fight for the Dragon Emperor on mountains of swords and seas of fire. Fengwo Mo Qilin said with a grateful face. He knew deeply that before he bowed down, in an instant, the future of him and the Qilin clan completely changed, all because of the Dragon King. Get back on your feet. Bao Qing waved his hand, indicating that Fengwo Mo Qilin could get up. The latter nodded heavily and stood up slowly, his eyes filled with tears. Seeing Mo Qilin like this, Bao Qing's mouth curled up slightly. In fact, he had no interest in the tragic experience of the Qilin clan. The only thing he was interested in was that the Qilin clan could strengthen the strength of his Dragon Clan and at the same time improve the luck of his Dragon Clan. Sure enough, the next moment, the system prompt for the Dragon Clan's luck improvement came to his ears again. This time, it actually increased by 5 points in one breath. Although it was not too much, it was obviously a very correct choice to do so. Next, Fengwo Mo Qilin knelt down on one knee and let Bao Qing ride on him. Yao Qing was not polite and sat directly on Fengwo Mo Qilin's body, looking majestic. I have to say that the feeling of this top-quality mythical beast is really good. Sitting on it, the breeze is blowing on your face, and the elements of wind and fire are faintly flickering, giving people a very comfortable feeling. No wonder so many gods and immortals have to choose a good one. The feeling is different if you use a monster as a mount. Originally, Bao Qing thought that the mount was quite troublesome and he was too lazy to ride it, so he might as well transform himself into reality. But now that he is sitting on this mount, he has changed his mind. Where is Prime Minister Turtle? Now Qing turned to the maid and asked. With the joining of the Qilin clan, the shores of the four seas will become even more powerful. After a while, Prime Minister Gui ran over respectfully. After Bao Qing gave a few simple instructions, Prime Minister Gui hurriedly ran out to complete the errands assigned by Bao Qing. The mission is also very simple, that is, to find the Qilin clan abandoned in every corner of the mythical world and bring them back to the shores of the four seas. After hearing Zhou Qing's order, Fengwo Mo Qilin was extremely happy, and the excitement in his eyes became even stronger. If Prime Minister Gui hadn't been watching, Fengwo Mo Qilin would have fallen to his knees in front of Bao Qing. In the next few days, the Sea High Dragon clan is still developing at a high speed. The 9 years of training and education in Boqing have finally achieved some initial results. Many fish who have been influenced by the training and education have become more and more successful in just a few days. After a while, he successfully transformed into a fish spirit and fish monster. Moreover, these fish spirits and fish monsters that have been influenced by spiritual education are much better than the fish spirits and fish monsters that directly take form, both in terms of talent and acceptance of spiritual knowledge. While Nao Qing was dealing with government affairs, Fengwo Mo Qilin, who was a mount, also traveled around the shores of the four seas. The more he wandered, the more surprised Fengwo Mo Qilin was to find that in the management of the shores of the four seas, the policies and measures taken by the Dragon Emperor to stay young were unprecedented, especially the 9-year training and education measure, which caught Fengwo Mo Qilin's attention. And when Fengwo Mo Qilin learned that there were already millions of fish spirits and fish monsters on the entire coast of the four seas, not to mention how shocked and surprised he was. At the same time, Fengwo Mo Qilin also found out more and more that it was a wise choice for him to choose to join the Dragon Emperor, Ao Qing. After all, no one could manage the shores of the four seas like this. If he, the Qilin clan, would be like Ao Qing, if Qing was managed like this, how could he be in such a miserable situation? It is worth mentioning that as the seawater along the entire four seas turned into holy water, more and more fish spirits were successfully transformed into golden dragons, and the number soared from a few dozen to over 100. In other words, there are more than 100 dragon masters in the shores of the four seas alone. You must know that before Guo Qing governed the shores of the four seas, this number was only a dozen, which increased 10 times. Of course, in the next few days, Zhou Qing studied several magic weapons plundered from the 4 generals of the demon family, such as Qingfeng sword, Chenkin umbrella and other items. Although these magic weapons were not as good as those of the colorful exquisite tower in terms of quality, class, but also a good magic weapon. Don't underestimate these magic weapons. When saints compete, it's often a competition between magic weapons and their knowledge. Whoever has the most magic weapons and the most powerful ones will win the final victory. On the other hand, under the pressure of Dao Qing, King Zhou of the Yin and Shang dynasties finally began to build the Dragon King Temple and set up incense altars to worship the Dragon King. In just 1 week, more than 5,000 temples were built. Chintangguan. As a border town of the Shang dynasty, under the guard of Chintangguan Li Jing, the people have always lived and worked in peace and contentment. In the town center of Chintangguan, dozens of naked men were struggling to transport a few bricks and stones to a temple. It can be clearly seen that in the main hall of this temple, the golden statue of the Dragon King is very luxurious and domineering, and the tortoises, prime ministers, shrimp soldiers and crab generals on both sides are also carved lifelike, as if they are real. Not far from the golden statue of the Dragon King, several huge broken stone statues of Nuwa Empress were tilted casually, with no one paying attention. In front of the Dragon King temple, many women and old men wearing simple clothes each held a stick of incense and kowtowed heavily in front of the Dragon King temple to pray for good weather in the coming year. The entire Dragon King temple seems to have a lot of traffic, and many of them go there for the reputation of the Dragon King and contribute their incense. At this time, a dark-skinned man slowly put down the last brick and carried it to the target. He stopped temporarily and a complicated look flashed in his eyes. Hey, tell me, this king of Shangzhou is actually smoking. What kind of wind is it? They actually want to build a large number of Dragon King temples and demolish Nuwa temples, and more than 5,000 of them will be built in just 1 week. Don't you know this? A few days ago, the Dragon King in charge of the Four Seas went to Cheoj in person, directly killed Huang Feihu and others, and ordered King Shangzhou to build the Dragon King temple. If King Shangzhou did not follow the instructions, if the Dragon King's request is fulfilled, King Zhou of Shang will probably have to walk around without food. Another swarthy man curled his lips and said with some envy, "What? Is the Dragon King who is in charge of the Four Seas so powerful? Are the generals in Cheoj even his rivals? I heard that many generals studied under Tongtian cult master, but I didn't expect." The dark man said in surprise. As soon as the two of them said this, an officer came over quickly. "You two, are you allowed to rest?" The two dark-skinned men stopped talking and started carrying stones again. It can be clearly seen that there are many strong men like them who are working hard to build the Dragon King temple, and their faces are covered with sweat. Since that day when Nao Qing ordered King Zhou of Shang to build the Dragon King temple, in just 1 week, countless Dragon King temples were built. And I don't know where it comes from that the Dragon King temple is more spiritual than the Nuwa temple, Fuxi temple and other temples. Therefore, many people will go to the Dragon King temple to worship and make wishes, hoping to realize their wishes and get the protection of the gods. Scenes like Chintangwan were played out in various places in the Yin and Shang dynasties in just 1 week. Countless Nuwa temples, Fuxi temples or other temples of gods were demolished, and the Dragon King temple was quickly built. Congratulations! Some people have built the Dragon King temple, and you have gained 2 merit points. Your Taoism has improved. It has been improved for 2 years and 24 days. Congratulations! Some people have built the Dragon King temple, and you have gained 2 merit points. Your Taoism has improved. It has been improved for 3 years and 14 days. Congratulations! Some people have built the Dragon King temple, and you have gained 2 merit points. Your Taoism has improved. It has improved for 3 years and 56 days. As the people began to build the Dragon King temple, Bo Qing's ears continued to receive system prompts for the improvement of merit and virtue. At first, when the merit points were received, Yao Qing was stunned. He thought that King Zhou of Shang was so fast. He had built so many Dragon King temples in just 1 week. Later, Yao Qing was shocked to find out, with the establishment of the Dragon King temple, his various statistics are increasing at a terrifying speed, especially Daoxing. No, just 2 days later, he directly gained more than 100 years of Taoism, which is better than many monks who have practiced hard for 100 years. At the same time, as his Tao practice increased, he also clearly felt that his views on martial arts and everything had reached a new level. Until now, Yao Qing has truly discovered why so many gods want to do good deeds and let people build temples for themselves and offer incense to them. The gains from these 2 days alone are far better than Yao Qing. I practiced hard for a long time. It's no wonder that after converting Western religion into Buddhism, Taoists like Jain and Bodhi Taoist went to the West to learn Buddhist scriptures and promote Buddhism. Just cultivating those Buddhist believers in the Eastern Tang dynasty was enough to increase the strength, cultivation and Taoism of Tathagata Buddha and others. It seems that he forced King Zhou of Shang to build the Dragon King temple, which was a very correct choice. It also made him discover the huge benefits of merit and enlightenment. At this moment, Bao Qing opened the attribute panel and found that his merit value had reached more than 200 points, and the merit aperture surrounding him had changed from almost invisible to vaguely visible. Suddenly, Bao Qing noticed that in his attribute panel, the merit aperture item could also be opened. Aperture of merit. It is divided into 7 layers. This is the circle that monks who have opened their merits have just now, such as the merit aperture of Tathagata and Avalokitesvara. Under the influence of this merit aura, your combat effectiveness is increased by 10%, your attack speed is increased by 10%, your movement speed is increased by 10%, and your practice speed is increased by 10%. First level. Although the attribute bonus of the merit aperture is not very good at the moment, only 10%, it is obvious that once the merit value increases sharply, the bonus of the merit aperture will definitely be extraordinary. I am afraid that there will be a 200% attribute bonus by then. It's all possible. Not bad, not bad. The corner of Bao Qing's mouth curled up slightly. It was obvious that this trip to Yin Shang Chaozhe had yielded extraordinary results. While he was thinking, Prime Minister Turtle ran over with a happy face. Dragon King, Dragon King. Good news. With the help of us shrimp soldiers and crab generals, we found many members of the Qilin clan, who are all waiting outside. Quote. So fast. Bo Ching was startled, not expecting that Prime Minister Gui and others could be so efficient. When Fengwo Mo Qilin, who was lying far away, heard this, his eyes widened with shock and excitement. He obviously did not expect that Prime Minister Gui could be so efficient. When Ao Qing led Prime Minister Gui and others out of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, outside the Dragon Palace, the members of the Qilin clan had gathered together in darkness. The leader Qilin saw Fengwo Mo Qilin, not to mention how excited he was. Full of tears. Quick, the reason why our Qilin clan can be reunited is all because of the Dragon Emperor. We, the Qilin clan, kneel down to Bao Qing. Fengwo Mo Qilin couldn't care less about his excitement and said quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, the Qilins quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed in the direction of Zhou Qing, their eyes full of excitement. Who would have thought that one day they, Qilin, would be reunited again? All of this is thanks to Dragon King Zhou Qing. And when Fengwo Mo Qilin was thinking, he was shocked to find that the Qilin clan in front of him were all flashing with white light, and they were about to evolve. If these unicorns do not evolve, once they evolve, the strong auspicious light and the light of auspicious animals will cover the entire shore of the four seas, making the entire shore of the four seas filled with seven-color light. Looking from a distance, it's spectacular. Like the evolution of Mo Qilin, the evolution process of these Qilin is basically the same as that of Mo Qilin. The only difference is that the evolutionary potential of these Qilin is obviously not as good as Mo Qilin. Some evolve into Wind Qilin, and some evolve into Wind Qilin. Some evolved into fire unicorns, and some evolved into water unicorns, all different. Seeing that his friends had also evolved, Fengwo Mo Qilin was not to mention surprised, and looked back at Dragon Emperor Ao Qing in shock. He is not a fool, how could he not see it? The reason why these friends of his can evolve is all because the Dragon King became green. The grace of evolution is really hard to repay. Fengwo Mo Qilin cupped his hands with gratitude on his face. His whole body was shaking with excitement because of this. The Qilins on the side also woke up one by one at this moment, and they all knelt on the ground and kowtowed excitedly to Bao Qing. How could they not feel that these were all given by Dao Qing? Many Qilins never thought that they would have such a day, that they could break through the shackles of spiritual practice and reach a new realm. If the kowtows just now were just a kowtow to thank them for taking them in, then the kowtows they are giving now are their sincere kowtows. Lord Dragon King, the grace of evolution is really hard to repay. All the Qilins were grateful, their eyes turned red. Get up, everyone. How could Bao Qing not know that the reason why these unicorns can evolve is because of the holy water on the shores of the four seas? But what he didn't expect was that the effect of this holy water was so incredible that all the Qilin clan had evolved just after they took refuge. But this is not the key. The most important thing is that the loyalty of all Qilin to him is mandatory to reach 100 points. In other words, he has one more Qilin in the Qilin clan who is good at fighting. Don't underestimate the Qilin clan. Back then, Qilin was one of the races that could compete with the ancestral dragon clan. The potential of its race can be imagined. Once it is cultivated and developed, the future is promising. Swish, brush, brush. The Qilin clan all stood up with respect on their faces. At this moment, they all chose to live and die with the Dragon clan. At this moment, a shrimp soldier suddenly ran over in a panic and said something in Prime Minister Turtle's ear, which made Prime Minister Turtle's face change slightly. Feng Huo Mo Qilin on the side was about to speak. Prime Minister Ji Yu took a deep breath, came to Ao Qing's ear, and quietly informed him of what had just happened. After listening to Prime Minister Gui's words, Ao Qing realized that there was another king in the Qilin lineage who was wandering in the mythical world and became someone else's mount. This king's name was Sibushang, and he was Mo Qilin's brother. It is not easy to mention these four different aspects. This is the son of Shi Qilin, the ancestor of the Qilin lineage, and the patriarch of the Qilin family. After the defeat of the Qilin clan, Shi Qilin, Zulong and others were plotted by the saint, and eventually had to guard various places and stay away from their own races. With their departure, the Dragon clan, Qilin clan and other clans gradually declined. Among them, Shi Qilin's son Sibushang became the Mount of Yuan Shi Tianzun, one of the three saints. He was enslaved by Yuan Shi Tianzun every day, but he did not dare to resist. No, in order to allow his disciple Zhang Zia to complete the task of becoming a god and realize the redistribution of power in the mythical world, Yuan Shi Tianzun not only gave him a list of gods, a god whip and other items, but also gave him Sibu, gave away his mount and gave it to Zhang Zia. Several dragon kings happened to see Zhang Zia and others when they were passing by Kunlun Mountain, so they quickly passed on the news. It can be said that Nao Qing is the most familiar with Sibushang. As one of the sons of Qilin Patriarch, he is extremely capable. He has helped Zhang Zia deal with countless troubles and saved many lives of Zhang Zia. It can be said that he is more important than Mo Qilin. An incredibly powerful mount. Now that he controls most of the Qilins of the Qilin clan, and Si Bushang is the leader of the Qilin clan, he can just take advantage of Zhang Zia's descent from the mountain to turn Si Bushang into his own mount and divide it into his own forces. It is worth mentioning that Yao Qing does not care about the tragic experience or situation of the Qilin clan. He only really cares about one thing, and that is whether the strength of his dragon clan has increased and whether his subordinates have increased. Has the time to unify the three realms been shortened? Zhang Zia, his luck is not bad. Nao Qing's mouth curled up slightly. Behind Zhang Zia, there must be the protection of Yuan Shi Tianzun, and he just wants to take away Zhang Zia's luck and magic weapon under the nose of Yuan Shi Tianzun. After all, he wants to swipe the dragon clan's luck value by the way. The two saints, Yuan Shi Tianzun and Taisheng Laojun, who knew nothing about the Dragon Emperor's plan to survive, or to be more precise, were very angry, were sitting on Kunlun Mountain extremely anxiously at this moment. In the Yushu Palace, a pair of eyes were filled with deep anger. In the hands of the two of them, the luck of Huang Feihu, Master Wen, the four generals of the Mo family, and others turned into air balls and slowly dissipated, as if they had never appeared. Can they not be angry? Huang Feihu and the four generals of the demon family were all the people they had arranged to take over important positions in the Heavenly Palace in the future. They were the people on the list of gods. Originally, they were waiting to send these people to the Heavenly Palace one by one after the great catastrophe of the gods. They arranged them one by one. In the lay department, one manages the Nantionmen, and under Li Jing, assists in commanding 100,000 heavenly soldiers, thus completely controlling most of the power of the heavenly court in the future. But now, as luck would have it, all the chess pieces they had set up had lost their souls, and even their luck and blessings had disappeared. How could they control the heaven in the future? As for Grand Master Wen, although he is the leader of Tongtian cult, they have planned everything and used the gentle policy to slowly promote Grand Master Wen and divide him into their own camp. After all, Grand Master Wen will be on the list of gods in the future. Become the being in charge of the 18 levels of hell. These days, everything develops according to the plans planned by these saints, including Su Hu giving away his daughter, Su Daji entering the court, etc., but they did not expect. All of this was ruined by a guy named Dragon King Yaoqing. Nao Qing, it's just a matter of Nezha. I didn't expect that Huang Feihu and others would also be deprived of their luck. Yuan Shi Tianzun's face was blue and purple, showing his anger. So, how should we deal with this person? Taisheng Laojun's eyes flashed with a strong light. Hearing the words of Taisheng Laojun, Yuan Shi Tianzun took a deep breath. If it were not for the worry that behind the Dragon Clan, there are big bosses and backers with extremely profound backgrounds, let alone Taisheng Laojun, Yuan Shi Tianzun would have taken the lead and destroyed the entire Four Seas coast. But then again, since the Dragon King Bao Qing of the Dragon Clan dares to attack Huang Feihu, Wen Taishi and others on the list of gods, he must have his own support. For a moment, Yuan Shi Tianzun suppressed the anger in his eyes, but his fists were clenched tightly. Taisheng Laojun on the side was a little surprised when he saw the appearance of Yuan Shi Tianzun and actually took a deep breath. This was the first time he saw Yuan Shi Tianzun in such an attitude, and he was obviously very angry. Besides the Four Seas, it's better not to act easily before you know their details. Yuan Shi Tianzun frowned slightly. This feeling of not being able to control everything was very bad and made him extremely unhappy. Now it seems that this is the only thing we can do. Taisheng Laojun exhaled slightly, and immediately, as if he suddenly thought of something, he hurriedly said, Yuan Shitianzun, the backstage supporter of this 4C coast, there is it's impossible to be the leader of Tongtian cult. As soon as he finished speaking, Yuan Shitianzun's eyes lit up, as if he realized something. The fortunes that the Dragon King Bo Qing on the shores of the 4Cs captured were basically monks from the Yuan Shitianzun side such as Nezha, Li Jing, and the 4 generals of the Mo family. However, there was only one Wen Taishi on the side of the Tongtian cult leader. Or did they plan to working for Master Wen? If all of this was instigated by Tongtian cult master, then everything can be explained. Yes, it's possible. Yuan Shitianzun took a deep breath. There are many demon clans under Tongtian cult, and they have also recruited countless demon beasts as apprentices. It is also very possible to recruit the Dragon Emperor Aoking from the shores of the 4Cs. But if the Dragon King's background is the leader of Tongtian cult, everything will be difficult to handle. Having said this, Yuan Shitianzun sighed slightly. The 3 great saints are planning their own plans around this list of gods. If Tongtian cult master really has the help of Dragon King Aoking from the shores of the 4Cs, he will be even more powerful and many of their plans will fail. While the 2 saints were thinking, monk Zhongzia, who was sitting under the 2 saints and did not dare to say a word, held the list of gods in his hand and shook nervously. Ah, 2 deities, what should I do, little disciple? Originally, Zhongzia was sent down the mountain by Yuan Shitianzun to become a god. As the disciple of Yuan Shitianzun, how could Zhongzia not know his mission as a chess piece? After all, on this list of gods, many powerful monks have become gods, but there is no place for Zhongzia himself. No one knows what this means better than him. In fact, this is indeed the case. After the great catastrophe in history, Zhongzia, as the person who made gods, made all the monks gods. However, he did not become gods, and he did not even have a god status. Humans eventually died of old age. Obviously it was just a knife used by the 2 saints to attack others. No one cared about what would happen after the knife killed someone. As a chess piece, Zhongzia still has his own awareness of being a chess piece, but now seeing the expressions of the 2 saints changing because the Dragon King has defeated one of them, even Zhongzia himself has to be a little curious. This Dragon King comes from the shores of the 4Cs. What kind of character is Zhou Qing? How could the 2 great saints be so shocked? After hearing Zhongzia's words, Yuan Shitianzun and Taisheng Laojun recovered from their anger and calculations. This list of gods has been given to you. Zhongzia, you just have to go down the mountain to be a god. Don't worry about the rest. Yuan Shitianzun said slowly, with the whip and the mount, I believe I can protect you. Worry. Taisheng Laojun on the side also nodded slightly, indicating that Zhongzia could go down the mountain. Seeing the 2 saints like this, Zhongzia had no choice but to turn around and leave, going down the mountain. He is not a fool. How could he not know that the Dragon King from all over the world has been in the limelight recently? Recently, people who are looking for people on the list of gods are in trouble. The same is true for Nezha, Li Jing, Huang Feihu and others. Did he go down the mountain to become a god? It's hard to say whether he has that fate or not. It can be said to be extremely dangerous. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but tighten the magic whip in his hand, and looked around with some vigilance. Seeing that there was no trouble around him, he felt relieved and rode Sibushang towards the foot of Kunlun Mountain. Kunlun Mountain is one of the 72 immortal mountains. It has abundant spiritual power and is very conducive to cultivation. Unfortunately, as a disciple of Yuan Shitianzun, Zhongzia has only made a little progress after decades of cultivation. I don't know how far behind those fellow apprentices are. However, it was precisely because of this that he became one of the discarded chess pieces that Yuan Shitianzun wanted. I hope I don't run into the Dragon King who is still young. Zhongzia complained, raised the magic whip in his hand, and as soon as he arrived at the foot of the Kunlun Mountains, he was ready to head towards Cheoj of the Yin and Shang dynasties. But just as he finished speaking, a faint voice resounded. Of course the Dragon Emperor is here, but with your strength, you are not worthy of our Dragon Emperor to take action. Oops. Before Zhongzia could react and raise the magic whip in his hand, a terrifying sword intent aroused and went straight towards Zhongzia, piercing his chest directly. With a plop, Zhongzia fell directly. The ground fell, turning into a thick pool of blood. The sword intent stirred, and the sharp sword returned. I saw several extremely sharp flying swords quickly surrounding Prime Minister Turtle. The strong sword energy violently surged around him with him as the center. Looking from a distance, quite a bit like a turtle hero. Ever since Dao Qing placed Shushan on the shores of the Four Seas, Prime Minister Gui had no time to spare. He directly learned Shushan's sword-controlling skills. Unexpectedly, it was quite easy to use. He could directly seize the enemy's head from thousands of miles away. Is he dead now? With a clang, Prime Minister Turtle put the flying sword into its scabbard, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. When Fengwo Mo Qilin saw this in the distance, he was a little speechless. He said to himself that it was not that Zhang Zia was weak at all, but that he was too strong at this time. Okay. Mountains, rivers, Sheji, and Qi luck chart. Collect it. Seeing that Zhang Zia's soul was about to dissipate, the scroll of mountains and rivers in the palm of the accompanying Yao Qing immediately unfolded and directly included Zhang Zia's soul, along with the divine whip and the list of gods. Fengwo Mo Qilin, who could no longer hold back, flew towards Si Bushong excitedly. His words were full of trembling. Young Patriarch Qilin, how are you in these years? The seventh Void Palace, the Dragon Clan's luck will be swept away. You are, Mo Qilin. Feeling the warmth coming from his whole body, Si Bushong looked at the Qilin in front of him in surprise. Only then did he notice that the little Qilin who was the color of ink in the past was already completely. He grew up, and successfully evolved and became stronger. Yes, if it hadn't been for Mr. Dragon Emperor Dao Qing, we wouldn't have reunited today. I'm afraid we, the Qilin clan, would still be wandering around like before. Fengwo Mo Qilin said with a grateful face. Immediately, Fengwo Mo Qilin will everything that happened these days was told to Si Bushong. While the two were talking, Dragon Emperor Yaoqing slowly opened the system prompt. Congratulations, you used the Shan Sheji luck capture map to capture Zhang Zia's luck. Congratulations, you have obtained the innate spiritual treasure, the Divine Whip. This Divine Whip is one of the supreme magic weapons. It can be used by all gods to smash their bodies to pieces. It is extremely powerful. Congratulations, you have obtained the innate spiritual treasure God's List. This God's List is one of the supreme treasures. It can be used to canonize all the gods in heaven. It is extremely powerful. Congratulations, you have obtained the Super Mount Cbu Shang. These Cbu Shang are the descendants of the first Qilin. They possess supreme strength and can bring great luck to their master. Congratulations, your dragon luck has improved. It has increased by 8 points. When seeing the introduction of the properties of the Divine Whip, Bao Qing was first stunned and then delighted. During Zhang Zia's great catastrophe of conferring gods, he often relied on this innate magic weapon to beat his opponents with the Divine Whip. Many powerful monks were driven to pieces by the Divine Whip. Even the three great saints Yuan Shi Tianzun was afraid of beating the gods. The existence of Whip. With this Divine Whip, he will have a lot of initiative in the future duels with the top masters in the mythical world. Just relying on this Divine Whip and the 7th level of Thunder Tribulation, I am afraid that many top masters will not be able to withstand it. After carefully putting the whip into his bag, Bao Qing's eyes immediately fell on the list of gods. At this moment, the function bang was like a scroll lying quietly in the palm of Nao Qing's hand, shining with a faint light and exuding inexplicable magic power, giving people a special feeling. Is this the list of gods? Bao Qing just sighed a little, and he could already sense the huge power of the gods coming from the list of gods, and even contained the terrifying rules of heaven, which seemed to be able to restrain everything. This feeling is extremely wonderful, as if I control the universe and the entire heaven. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.